Gather around, everyone, and let me tell you the story of the 291st episode of the Fake Nerd Podcast, where they discuss the story of the legendary Space Viking, and also the eating, banging, and killing tour of Harley Quinzel and Poison Ivy. Yay! I am Sparks Whitty, and I'm, of course, joined by Ryan Eliopoulos.
Ah!
All right. And Ben Magnus. Will we give Brandon a moment?
I believe we should. I was going to say that I forgot to put my special wake-up juice in the fridge last night, so I have no wake-up juice, just regular water. So if I fall asleep, I apologize in advance.
That's the reason.
There we go. And Brandon T. McClure.
Screaming goats get me every time.
It works or it doesn't, and it works for me.
It works for me too. Hi guys, I'm here.
Welcome.
Off to a good start.
Welcome to the Love Bang Kill Thunder Tour. I'm glad to be here.
We have links. If you have anything more to your intro, Sparks, I'm sorry I might have derailed you.
No, I don't.
All right, well then we have links. I'll say the links first because we have a big announcement to say before we get into the show. So let's do some links first. I'm gonna wait for people to pop into the live show if anybody is interested. So Ryan, your YouTube channel is in the description still, but you didn't do anything on it, correct?
Hot dog, no, I didn't.
All right,
back to work.
There are episodes on there. If you haven't checked it out, it's still linked below. So check that out.
It's the unfortunate thing of I started to play a game I really like on stream, so now I can't play it unless I stream. So I have to stream soon so I can play Final Fantasy because I'm itching for it.
That's how I feel about Aliens Fireteam, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And my Screen Rant work is still linked below. And I did get one thing published this week. I wrote more, but we ran out of room. There are a bunch of Love and Thunder stuff. It's coming out this week. So you can check out those pieces coming up this coming week. The one that was published, though, was Heavens to Betsy. What was it? You know what? Surprise me. Go to the link and find it and let me know what it is. I'm sure I'll be like, wow, cool, thank you.
I wrote that.
I did write that. Did you guys see one of my pieces was used to fight a racist?
Yeah, I did.
About that. I did tweet about that. All right. Ben, what do you want to talk about first? Because you got a big thing, and then you got your Grayson Live stuff.
Let's go with Grayson. Let's go with Grayson Live first because that's the more consistent thing.
Number 43 and number 44 of your journey with Grayson Live and Super Mario 3D World is in the description.
Yep, and those are 2 episodes. We were talking. It started off with me talking about the Final Fantasy concert I went to back in May at this point. And then it just goes to us just talking about our first experiences with the game series in general, and how as a kid when I first played the game, I was an idiot. I didn't read all the tutorial stuff, and I didn't know how the sphere grid worked in Final Fantasy X. And I got to a certain boss, I just got stonewalled because I couldn't beat it to save my life. So yeah, that's there. That's enjoyable. That's
and
fun.
You have a big thing from Fusion Gaming Magazine. The purchase link is down below, not for the magazine itself, but for like buy magazines and stuff. But you have a thing.
Oh, you mean this little thing right here?
I do mean that little thing.
Yeah, for audio listeners, it's issue 33, and it has. Let me just flip to the page that actually has my. There it is. It's my Elden Ring article that I wrote months ago.
For audio listeners, there's a beautiful 2-page spread of Elden Ring.
Oh, you want to know the best part?
Sure.
It's actually a 3-page spread.
Ooh.
Yeah. Essentially, the article that I wrote in Fusion is my reasoning of why Elden Ring is From Software's magnum opus. I still hold on to the belief, even after I've been playing it for months, it's still the best game From Software has ever made thus far. I mean, you've heard me talk about it on the show. You've probably seen me stream it. You've seen me talk about it on the quarterly or the halfly episode of Basement Arcade Pause Man that we just put up recently. Elden Ring is great. It's still like my game of the year thus far. It's still a fantastic time. Every time I hop into that game, I'm over 158 plus hours into it. I'm getting inching closer and closer to 200. It's still a fantastic game. And yeah, this article just continues to sing the praises of why it's like, hey, this is why this game is great, and this is why the hype is real about it.
That's exciting. Where can people buy it?
You can buy it on FusionRetroBooks.com. If you go, The easiest way I found is to Google Fusion Gaming Magazine. The first link that'll pop up is the link to the page where you can has all the magazines that are available to purchase. Just a little bit of a forewarning. This magazine is from the United Kingdom, so if you are here in America and you do want to purchase it, you can still purchase single issues, no problem. If you want to subscribe to it, there is a Patreon subscription link that is on my Twitter. But the single issues, every time they have a new single issue out, it's on the website, so you can buy a single issue, and you're good to go.
And that link, you don't have to Google it. It is linked below.
Yay!
Cool, Ben. Very proud of you, sir. Congratulations.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm really, because as you guys know, I'm going to Europe in 2 weeks, and I get to go finally meet some of my coworkers. I can now call them coworkers. It's still weird for me to call them my coworkers over at Fusion, because I tweeted out I'm excited for my trip, and then it's like, hey, and then 2 of them said, hey, if you come to London, it's like, no, London is one of my destinations. I'm going to be there for a few days.
Jelly. That sounds awesome, dude.
No offense to my compatriots at Screen Rant. I do not consider you guys coworkers. All right.
Take that, Screen Rant!
There's so many of them. I don't talk to any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked to a few of the people who work for Fusion, because we're all part of a Slack. Do you guys know what Slack is?
I'm familiar with Slack. We used Slack before we moved over to Discord.
Okay. Yeah, we're all on Slack. We're talking there. We're like, it's like we get notifications and we're like stuff about the magazine. So yeah.
Very cool.
Great group of people.
Cool. Sir, again, congratulations. Very proud of you. You have accomplished much this year. There's a couple of episodes from this channel. For example, Fake Nerds Watch. There's 2 Fake Nerds Watch episodes that dropped this week. One for Miss Marvel, episode 6 and 7?
Nope.
That's more episodes than the show
Damn.
has.
When they start making 7?
3 and 4.
I wish
3 and
they
4.
made 7 episodes.
Thank you, Sparks. It's 3 and 4. You can check out what we think about those 2 episodes up now, and the final episode of Miss Marvel will be next week, right? Late next week, sometime.
Yeah, so realistically, it'll probably release the week after.
Yeah. But yeah, only one more Fake Nerds Watch from Miss Marvel, and then the show is done, and then we wait for She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And of course, my second to last, my penultimate episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. 2 what I think incredible episodes, 7 and 8. There we go, 7 and 8. Yes, there's you remind me of Ted when he was a professor, and he couldn't spell professor.
Yeah.
He just turned and looked at the girl.
Oh my goodness.
The girl just
Say prof.
Okay, so yes, that episode. I think 2 incredible episodes. One introduces an awesome new non-binary pirate captain. That I love them. And the next one is a fun, just alternate kind of body swap. It's hard to explain, but like it's not a spoiler to say that they are possessed to think they are in a medieval book, and it's a lot of fun. There's some great character work.
Yeah,
hilarious episode. That is
Pretty-
the second to last. Go ahead.
pretty hectic recording on that episode. My
A
bad.
little bit. No, it's okay. I don't mind.
There was stuff happening in the environment.
I'm really glad that I got to do it with you in general, because I'm glad you like the show.
Did you watch the very end of the episode yet?
Which, no, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So there was a long bit where Brandon was just by himself because I had to deal with something.
You didn't
And,
put that in.
And during one little snippet, Brandon was playing around with something, and I put it right at the end of the episode. So everyone should check out the post credits of the latest Strange New Worlds like Nerds
We
Watch,
got post
where
credit
Brandon's
scenes.
just by himself goofing around.
Jesus. You're wonderful. So that's going to be the penultimate episode of the Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and potentially of my Star Trek Fake Nerds Watch. We'll see what happens when Lower Deck Season 3 comes around. I would like to do one, but schedules are hectic, and so it might not be possible. And I'm very, very, very excited to talk about the final 2 episodes on that show. Then finally, your Basement Arcade quarterly has premiered.
Yes, the pause menu quarterly. Yes.
Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Video games, video games, video games.
Yes.
Now, this
We
was going to
talked
be a
about-
show that you want to do, like, you do want to do this quarterly, even though you waited for
Yes,
half the
we
year.
do.
Yeah.
Every 3 months or so.
yeah,
if we
we-
can. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about games that left an impact on us in the first 6 months of the year. It was a really good discussion.
It was.
Yeah, Ryan and I regularly listen to Waypoint, and we were both, I think, craving an opportunity to talk more about things we were playing in that kind of capacity. And this was like here's an avenue where we might be able to do that.
Yeah.
Very cool. So stay tuned for more episodes for that. But yes, you can check out the first one linked below, both audio and video.
Nice.
I was on top of it with the audio this week. I have been late the past 2 weeks. Okay. That's all the links in the description, but I'm not done talking, and I apologize for that, because we have a big announcement to say before we get into our weeks. We have been trying for, 2 years now, to bring back our good friend Mike Patola to do a trivia challenge. It has been tough. Schedules are hectic, as I said about my Strange New Worlds thing, but finally had an opening, and this coming Sunday will be the grand return of our good friend Mike Patola and his Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge game.
Woo.
If you guys are familiar with our show, longtime listeners, I'm sure will remember that we've done this a few times. We have a great time whenever he comes on the show, and if you don't know who he is, he writes out movie scripts and album lyrics and all sorts of things to make a poster of it. I think at this point we all have one.
Nope.
Yes. No.
I think I gave mine away.
Oh,
You have a Bowie one?
Oh well, no. I bought my own. I didn't win one.
right.
Yeah.
And he'll for us, he'll make a game out of it. He'll kind of parse through the movie and find like very. I'll never forgive myself for how many barks Zero does at the end of the movie.
You won Back to the Future, right? Is that true?
I don't remember at this point.
I think you gave it to Ben.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you have Back to the Future one? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I have the Back to the Future one.
But
Yeah,
you
but
didn't.
you're
win
right.
it. Ryan
No,
won
I
it.
didn't win it. Ryan won it, but he gave it to me because he knows how much I love that movie.
That's because I'm the heart of the show, Mike. You know,
You're the
that
heart,
Mike.
Ryan. The heart.
Sorry. I just realized that Mike Matola is also his name. I'm just referencing Stranger Things and how
Right,
Mike isn't
right.
the spoilers for Stranger Things.
That was a double layer, Mike.
Double layer Mike.
That episode's coming. Soon. So yes, so and he creates a game for us, and it changes every single time. He changes the game every single time, which is a lot of fun. And we finally, so this is going to be in lieu of an episode. So 292 will be pushed to the next week, and in its place will be Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge, and it will be How to Train Your Dragon.
I get to watch a good movie again. That's nice.
It's always wonderful when it comes on because you're like, wow, I get to watch a good movie.
Yeah. He should pick like the worst movie ever made at one point. That'd be great. Because then you have to be like forced to pay attention to all the worst details.
The Room.
No, I was thinking something like actually bad.
Like actually bad.
Like, yeah.
The RoboCop remake.
I mean, it's not great. I'm talking something like bad. Like I don't like. What's like one of the Hobbit movies. Like the third Hobbit movie. Where like I just never want to watch it again ever. Don't make me
fair.
do it. Come on.
I like the first Hobbit movie quite a bit, actually.
I don't remember those movies.
But yeah, so it's going to be How to Train a Dragon. So if you want to play along, you're welcome to. We will let you know as it gets closer if we're going to do it as a live show, if we're going to do it as just an episode that is going to drop. But at any rate, we do encourage people to play along. So yes, Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge is returning this Sunday. How to Train Your Dragon. Stay tuned. We're all very excited.
Sunday.
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm glad we finally get to do this.
Toothless V podcast.
Okay. Who wants to go first of the week?
I will.
I will go after Ben.
There are only two major things I want to talk about that I did this week that, I mean, they're not really nerd related. I mean, obviously I watched Stranger Things, I watched The Boys, but we talked about that in their own FNWs. The first thing I want to talk about is it's sports related. This week was the first time I went to Dodger Stadium since March of 2020. The last Dodger game I attended was the day before spring training was canceled and everything was put into lockdown in March of 2020. That was the last time I went to a baseball game. I was in Arizona for their spring training game. And this past Wednesday, I took my girlfriend Fanny to Dodger Stadium because it was Hello Kitty night. And I joked that that's the only way I was able to get her to a baseball game because they are giving away a free Hello Kitty Dodgers towel. So I see it as a win-win. She gets her Hello Kitty stuff. I get my baseball game. So it was.
Oh, is that the towel she's wearing in your picture?
Yeah.
God, okay. I was wondering about that.
Yeah. So it was just great going back to Dodger Stadium. I haven't been since they remodeled the park. It's great that you can now finally walk around the entire stadium. You don't have to go through different entrances and just take the long way back around to your seat. It was just great being back. I miss going to seeing a live baseball game, and it was fun. Best part, Dodgers won. It was a fun time, and I was yelling.
The Dodgers are not the team you're rooting for, right?
Correct. Ben's favorite team is the Giants, Brandon.
Right. Of course.
Listen, we got new listeners. You got to keep the lore up on the podcast.
We do.
Know?
That's why we keep bringing up the Stephen King thing.
Anti-Monitor still on that hill.
Stephen King's favorite team is also the Giants, and that's why Ben is.
You're right.
Paul's his hero.
Bringing it all around. Now we're connecting lore, so
I thought Stephen King was from New England. Isn't his favorite team be the Red Sox?
That doesn't change the fact that he thinks that the San Francisco Giants are the best.
Doesn't matter where you're from. There's a really funny joke. Can I real quickly tell you a really funny joke from the Orville this season?
Yes.
Sure.
There's a bit when they're having dinner, and it's a time travel episode. So they're in 2025. And they go back to 2015 later, but and they're talking to this person, and they have this cover where they're from Boston, and right, Boston's where the Red Sox are from.
Yes.
Boston.
Okay, and so the person asks him, "Oh, so you're Boston? You're from Boston? You must love the Red Sox." And they look at each other. It's Hayden Panettiere. Who's Kelly Grayson? Mockingbird.
Adrian Palicki.
And Seth MacFarlane. They look at each other like, and it's a good 2-minute look where they're just like, yeah, who wouldn't love socks? They keep your feet warm. I just thought that was really funny.
That is good.
That is good. Yeah. So Dodgers won, still in first place. Woohoo. And the other thing I did, or the thing that happened yesterday, is one of my oldest friends from high school got married. So I was at her wedding yesterday, and it was really good. It was really nice.
Love.
Congratulations. I liked your tie. That's your Space Invader tie, right?
Yeah, it's my little Space Invader dude tie. I got that out of Loot Crate years ago. And out of all the things of Loot Crate, that's one of the things that I've gotten that it's still not in constant use, but every time I wear it, I always feel it's like I get a chance to wear my Space Invader tie. This is awesome.
I have my Loot Crate. You gave it to me, my Captain America shield, somewhere around here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I still have this from Loot Crate.
Yes.
You bring that to weddings?
Watch me.
Hang it on a pocket.
Yeah.
It's right here.
I mean, you might be able to if you get a strong enough magnet. But anyways, pretty much big things I did this week was went to a Dodger game, saw my friend get married. That's about it.
Right.
I returned to the workforce this week, so a lot of my energy was there. And then when I got home, I wasn't feeling engaging in anything really. So I didn't do anything besides the shows that we watch for Fake Nerds Watch. So I watched The Boys, I watched Ms. Marvel. We talked about Stranger Things. I spent a lot of time on YouTube. And so most of this week I spent watching, there's a YouTuber named Jesse Cox, and I like him. I don't normally watch his solo content, but he does have a group video thing that is called Scary Game Squad. And Scary Game Squad is a bunch of YouTubers coming together. Gerard the Completionist, Ben, who you know, Alex Falcione from Epic Beard Bros. A bunch of people come together and they play scary games together. And a lot of these games are the games that I make Ben play. It is one way of me finding new games for Ben to be subject to later in the year. But I wanted to highlight them because they've been the Scary Game Squad for 8 years at this point. They've been on YouTube for so long. So every single scary game you'd want someone to play, they've played. So I spent a lot of this week watching them play the Resident Evil games, a Silent Hill game, a game called Layers of Fear, which is maybe the scariest game ever made. And Ben, I'm going to make you play it, and you're this one. I've said it before, but this one you're gonna suffer. This one's awful. This one's, man, like it got a reputation for a reason. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to watch this because like if she can scare me, that's when I know it's the real deal. So
Ben's just sitting there going like, mother, how can I quit?
Oh yeah. There's one section where I'm like, oh, this is the good stuff. October.
How can I take a month-long vacation in October?
See, you should have went to Europe in October. You should have saved yourself the horror. But
we would have just made it recorded early in September.
That's how we get you. Scheduling, baby. So I spent a lot of this week watching other people play video games, which isn't something I often always do. But for scary games and like a group of 5 people, and like they collectively like scream at the same time, like that's really fun. It's like, you know, being at like a movie theater watching a horror movie. So I spent a lot of time in other people's televisions.
Very cool. Sparks, you want to go next?
I watched many Marvel movies, but I got 3 things in specifics I'm going to talk to you about. Number 1 is Baymax. That show is out.
Mm-hmm.
I watched more episodes. Specifically, I watched the episode that all of Twitter couldn't stop talking about. Guys, that's a great episode of television. It's just really nice. It's just really nice to watch Baymax walk people through and be like, periods are a biological normal thing and not something to be ashamed of. And it's like, dang, Disney, this is really nice.
Look at that.
Thanks for making good, approachable. We should all be able to talk about periods without getting weird content.
Absolutely. It's a thing that a lot of people deal with, and it's just like we just ignore it. Some men don't know anything about it into their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
More than half the population, regardless of gender, have it.
Yeah.
Go through it.
Yeah, it's something we can't just ignore because, again, it gets to situations where, like, men don't even know what a period is or what it does in way late into their life. And I'm like, y'all, that's just a part of your body. You just deal with it. You got to know. Don't be icked out.
The whole discussion around that episode has been so disgusting.
Well, not all of it. Not all of it.
No, sorry. All the bad apples doing it.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a lot of praise rightly being lobbed at that episode, and it should be. For those that haven't been part of that discourse, it's very prominent that there's a part where Baymax is trying to find the right supplies for the girl, and he asks for advice in the aisle, and all of these people start chiming in, and one of them's a transgender person, and that's really nice. And they make it very blatant that is who that is, and that they have an opinion on this. And I'm like, well, that's great, guys. A+. Nice. Yeah, I'm just really happy with it. I'm really happy with that Baymax series. The animation's great because it looks exactly like Big Hero 6 because it's the same team from the film animation studio. So highly recommend checking those out. I still got 2. I've only done 2 and 2, but really enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
The next thing I'm sure Brandon and I can share in talking about because we both watched Assembled for Multiverse of Madness.
I watched half of it with you.
That's true. Yeah. You did watch
from the
back end. Yeah. My favorite thing about this right from the jump is that Bruce Campbell hosts it.
Me too. That's when I knew I was in for a good time because I was like, oh, we're doing something different. Cool. I'm excited now.
Yeah. They definitely like went a different way with this one, which was really nice.
Like a Hall of Mirrors.
Honestly, like it's my favorite one so far. Like it's not just the Bruce Campbell thing, but how in depth they go with like Sam Raimi's relationship with Bruce Campbell is like a section of the documentary. The Oldsmobile. It gets even like a good section. It shows up a lot in that movie apparently.
And they talk a lot about like the practicals because there are so many practicals and how insistent Raimi was that there's practicals. One of the reasons why Multiverse of Madness is one of the better looking films. And that where certain things came to be because of COVID constraints and because of the way they had to make things and that they really made it work for them. What would be a weakness, they made their strength.
Yeah, even Michael Waldron was talking about like he had 3 weeks to write the script and then the pandemic hit and they threw that script out and they had months to write a new script.
Yeah.
Something like a blessing, it sounds like.
What Ben?
Did they put in the bloopers with Elizabeth Olsen going wee?
That's a different thing.
That's part of the bloopers.
Okay.
The assembled episodes are not bloopers; they are just
the
making of documentary. And it normally I really like them anyway, except for the I've talked about. I just don't like the Loki one, but like this one was really unique and really showed how much I think people will be surprised to see how much of that movie is actually Sam Raimi's. Because there's been a lot of talk about how the movie like like kind of neuters Sam Raimi, but he's like very enthusiastic about the movie in a way that I haven't seen him be enthusiastic for in a while, quite honestly.
I honestly, like, if you've seen Sam Raimi's work and then you see Doctor Strange, I don't see how you say, oh, that's Sam Raimi. That's not Sam Raimi's movie. That is clearly Sam Raimi's movie.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's a Marvel movie, but like, his shit is all over that movie. Like, you're not telling me the dude who made Evil Dead made this movie. Give me a break. Come on.
And even
It's
like,
just them being haters against Marvel for no reason. That is a Sam Raimi ass movie. Give me a break.
and you even get like Kevin Feige talks about how excited he is to have Sam Raimi. He's like, I started on Spider-Man, and now I get to work with him again, and like so close together with him, and like he's so excited to like be making a Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie. It's a really wonderful documentary that I highly recommend.
Sparks, you brought up when we were watching it, like how crazy it that like the images of like Evil Dead are showing up on the Disney Channel right now.
Yeah.
Like the behind the scenes. I'm like, man, I love it. It's so cool.
I think the one minor spoilers for the next like 45 seconds for Multiverse of Madness. The one thing I thought was a nice nugget is Michael Waldron talking about like when he came in, the original version of the script was going to turn Wanda into a villain at the very end of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the film was going to be a progressional story of her, which makes WandaVision's ending make way more sense.
Yeah.
But they decided that made little sense. Like Wanda wasn't really there except for that purpose of the ending. They're like, why not just have the villain be the villain in this movie?
Yeah. Probably a stronger choice overall.
Which I think like I've in our Multiverse of Madness review, I've gone on record of saying like I think that story works. I think where the failing happens is that WandaVision did not properly prepare that story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the all in all the documentary is just a very good time. And even if you know what, I'll take that back. If you didn't like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you don't deserve this documentary. But if you do like the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you should definitely check out this documentary.
It's like there's like did you like the movie? Yes or no? And if you hit no, X, not allowed.
Exactly. I'm saying it. Sometimes I'll be like, if you didn't like this thing, maybe check out the documentary. But no, you don't deserve this one.
Because it just reinforces all the stuff you probably hate about the movie, which is all the goofy stuff.
Yeah, and quite honestly, like it reinforces everything I liked about the movie. Which how much, man, watching the nightmare dimension, and you see like the car, how many practical cars were actually floating in the sky with like rigs, and they built a new New York backdrop for Marvel that is just that there now.
Yes, that was part of what I was talking about with the COVID weakness becoming a strength.
Yeah,
because they were originally going to fly to where they had New York stand-ins for like Avengers and everything. They were going to use that same area, but they couldn't because they were filming in London and they could not travel because of COVID. So they had to build the New York backlot.
Money.
They did a good job. That's a cool part. That's a cool part of that documentary. Okay. So the last thing I'll talk about is, have you all heard of an anime called Spy Family?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
Yeah, it's one of the hottest anime right now. Do you know the premise of Spy Family?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yep, these two people adopt a girl to keep up with appearances, and they find out the girl's a telepath.
Ben, that's too simplistic. Okay, so he is a spy from the West, and he's on a mission to get at a target in the East, and he has to get a girl into the same school as his target so he can get to know the target. But he has to find the girl, so he adopts the girl. The girl comes first, and yes, she is a telepath, a 6-year-old telepath. So she knows he's a spy. He does not know she's a telepath. And then he has to find someone to stand in for her mom. Well, he finds a lady who is nervous about the secret police arresting her because you are suspicious if you're single at a certain age in the country. That's just what it is. And so she's amicable to doing this whole deal and getting some cover for herself. But the thing is, she's actually an assassin. And so only the little girl knows that they're both these things and that they're living in this house and they're falling for each other. And the little girl has to just process all this information. And she wants to make her new adoptive dad proud. So she's trying to do the spy missions for him, but she's also 6 and not good at it. So it's really good. Believe the hype. It's very good. I'm very glad I'm watching it.
Sounds exciting.
That's it.
It's like season 1, right?
So season 1 is 25 episodes, but they cut the season in half. So the first 12 are out and the rest have not released yet and will release later this year. So we're jumping in on that first 12.
I'm up on it.
Real quickly before I start my week, I just want to say, Sparks, you are in the exact perfect position to block out all of Chris Hemsworth. And Ryan, you are in the perfect position to have a mustache on your head.
Yeah. Sorry, Jane.
Right. So my week, I watched Thor movies. I watched just the first 3 Thor movies.
As opposed to the first 5 Thor movies?
Yeah, I don't know why I said it that way.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, Thor, the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok. I've spoken about them plenty. I just want to say I never noticed how much ass is featured in the Thor movie specifically. And like, so the first film has like, you know, in the doctor's office, they like stick his butt with a thing, and his butt jiggles, and he hits the thing. And like, it's not like a full ass shot, it's like a partial ass shot. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then Thor: The Dark World has Selvig running around naked. Admittedly, it's blurred, but he's just like running around naked. I'm like, oh. And then Thor Ragnarok has Hulk's bare ass, and then Thor: Love and Thunder, we'll talk about it, has Thor's bare ass. I'm like, the Thor movies have a lot of bare ass in them.
Someone's got to do it.
Specifically, like, it's just the Thor movies. No one else does it.
Well, see, you have America's ass, but like you cover that bad boy. So
yeah,
like,
but America's ass wasn't a thing until. Well, I guess it was always technically a thing, but it wasn't pointed out to us.
It's America's ass.
It wasn't pointed out to us until Endgame.
There you go. Yeah, it's always been there.
Anyway, I just thought it was a really funny observation that I noticed this time around. I watched Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. It's a bad movie. It's a really bad movie, but it's got really good character interactions, and I like watching it for that reason. For those of you who don't know, it's the one that introduces Cybok.
Good old Cybok.
The one that William Shatner directed. It's a terrible movie. But the interactions between really all the characters, but mostly Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, are delightful. And there's this one scene that McCoy... There's been a little bit of chatter about it online. But there's this one scene where McCoy is like Cybok is trying to take away McCoy's pain, but his pain is the fact that he helped his dad die before there was a cure for the illness that was killing him. And McCoy has this thing where he has the scene, which I think is delightful. Not delightful in that way, but it's a really good, it's a really well acted scene where McCoy is like essentially killing his father and like saying goodbye to his ailing dad. And it's really touching and a surprising scene that stayed in this really bad movie.
Hey, even poop nuggets can have little pieces of diamond in it sometimes.
That's true. If you're pooping diamonds, go see a doctor. Anyway.
Hey, diamond's expensive, man.
Yeah, but if you're pooping them, that's a problem.
They'll pay for the doctor.
That's true, actually.
It's a self-fulfilling circle.
I watched Dragon Ball Z Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan. I don't think this is the first time I've seen it. I'm pretty sure I watched it when I was a kid, but quite honestly, I could have just absorbed it through osmosis.
The first Broly movie.
Yeah, the first Broly movie.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's actually a pretty good movie. The new one, like, it's, my God, the jump in quality that they were able to do with Broly is like you just went to the moon a couple times.
Yeah, but like that new Broly movie is like that with pretty much any previous Dragon Ball thing.
That's true. But what they were able to change Broly, and it's so interesting. Like, Broly is a very menacing, like, outspoken character. You know, he's just like, I'm going to kill everyone, Kakarot, and I'm going to kill you. And like, if Broly's motivation wasn't just so much the stupidest thing, is
that the one where Goku's crying and he's mad that Goku's crying as a baby?
Yeah.
When they were babies,
yeah,
Kakarot wouldn't stop crying.
Oh, it is dumb. Oh, it is so dumb.
It's just so stupid. And then, and if Vegeta doesn't get sidelined for about 20 minutes, that might be an over exaggeration, maybe it's like 10, but like he realizes that Broly is the legendary Super Saiyan, and up until this point he's been like, I'm gonna go kill the legendary Super Saiyan. He's been leaving and coming back and like, I'm gonna go kill him. And then when he realizes that it's Broly, he just has this moment where he's just like, okay, we're all gonna die, there's no point in fighting, we're just all gonna die now. And like, what are you doing, Vegeta? You're Vegeta.
I actually really like that character beat personally.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea that when Vegeta meets the legend he's heard about his entire life, when he's actually literally faced with that power, that it would instill fear, because that's the whole point of that story, is to be scary, even to Saiyans.
I guess. I see.
I'm not going to say the film executed it well, but I don't have a problem with the idea of Vegeta going through that character moment.
Yeah, and I'm sure I think you're right. It's the idea is not bad. It's just that up until that point, he's such a, and like Vegeta just in general is such a gun ho, like shoot first, ask questions later character, and he's been trying to like fight the legendary Super Saiyan because he's so confident to kill him, and it gets to the point where I'm just like, he's right there. Try.
Right, because he doesn't believe that power is real, and then he's faced with it. And I like when it's Piccolo, right? Piccolo picks him up and is like, "Get your shit together," and then drops him.
Yeah.
And then Vegeta like comes to. Yeah. I like that shit.
I guess when you say it, it sounds all right. But you have this reaction. You have this ability to get to me like that in general.
Again, like I think the movie could execute on that idea better. The idea of like, because that's like the whole thing about the Broly movie, right? Is like this idea of the legendary Super Saiyan fable being true, and if they're faced with it, what that means. And Vegeta being the only person in the group who has lived his life with that story, and knowing like, if you make that story real, the fear that has to instill in him, because that was a warning story, not necessarily a champion story for the Saiyans.
Yeah,
it was a boogeyman of the Saiyans in a way, and having that really come to life in front of him would be chilling. And I think that's fine that he regresses in the face of it at first.
I will say the legendary Super Saiyan idea is very intriguing, and I'm really glad that new movie exists.
Yeah, they still do the thing in the original where like his green energy like goes in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so good.
Oh, I love that.
It's a good design.
Yeah.
I might actually watch the new one soon, like today.
No, you gotta watch Bio Broly.
That's a bad time.
that's a bad time. All right. I will only talk a bit about Strange New Worlds because I'm going to do that final episode. But
real quick before you get off, anyone should check out like it came out this week, the Dragon Ball.
Oh yeah, Legend,
a Dragon Ball fan film.
Yeah,
it's like 7 minutes,
which involves
long.
Broly.
It's like 7 minutes long, but it's like its own like recreation of basically Dragon Ball Z.
God, there's something so chilling about the Broly changing the Kakarot to Vegeta.
Yeah, it's like 7 minutes long, but it took 4 years to make, and it's like one of the most groundbreaking, like beautiful animation things you'll see this year. It's incredible.
Yeah. I saw clips of it online. I haven't checked out the full thing yet, but it looks gorgeous.
Definitely give it a watch.
I will talk a little bit about Strange New Worlds because I just want to talk about my favorite show of the year. I was really loving Strange New Worlds. I think it's an incredible show, but my God, by the time that final episode ended, I was just like, I was not sitting anymore, and I was whooping. I was like cheering about how great this show had been, and I'm so thankful it exists, you guys.
Everybody who on my feed who's a friend watches Star Trek, this is like they're saying like this might be the best Star Trek ever made, even more than the original shows. Like it does those original shows, but like with modern sensibilities. And I'm like, I'll definitely start watching it soon. But like seeing how everyone is so positive on it is really, really exciting for like Star Trek fans. Like that's great.
I've seen positivity also on the feed, on my feed, and it's just like I'm just so in love with that show, and I'm so glad it's getting a second season. And there were directions that I thought it was going to go this season that it decided not to go in, and I was grateful for them because it made it unpredictable. And I cannot sing the praises of this TV show enough. As I said, it is by far my favorite show of the year. And I just Anson Mount is incredible. All the cast is incredible. Yeah, man, bring on that second season. Like I cannot wait for that second season. It's not coming this year, but like it's soon. It's soonish. And I'm so super stoked. Hell yeah. I'm so happy to be here to like sing the praises like this of a Star Trek show again. Like this is legitimately one of the best shows, the best show of the current run, but like one of the best Star Trek shows, period. One of the best first seasons of a Star Trek show, period. It's incredible.
I definitely heard that the most of like you know, the original show and Next Generation, like the first seasons aren't maybe the best, but like this is the best first season of Star Trek ever made.
Yeah.
Even if you don't agree it's the best like overall, like it is the best first season.
It's like, so consistent. Every episode is great. like every episode I was saying, this is my favorite. This is my favorite.
Yeah,
this is
it
my
does.
favorite.
It definitely knows what it is right from the jump.
I love that.
And
It
I
didn't
think-
need to find anything.
I think that's what Discovery's biggest issue was in the beginning, was that it didn't know what it was. And then this one just comes out being like, yeah, we're Star Trek. We're good Star Trek. We're just going to constantly make good Star Trek episodes.
What if we did the thing you guys liked before? What if we finally just did that, huh?
What if we just did that?
Amazing.
And what
Give
if we
us
did
what
it
they want.
great?
I love it.
I'm the final episode, it was so by the time Captain Pike said space, the final frontier, there's something in the final episode, the Sparks you have not watched yet, correct? You've
No.
been
I have not.
So there's something at the beginning of the episode where I made a guttural sound of excitement, like a noise that my body has never made before because I got so excited at what had just happened.
It's always good
Oh, it's so good, guys. I'm so excited that it exists.
I love it. I'm so happy for you and for Star Trek in general.
Yeah,
I love feeling like this.
it's a good show. It's a really good show.
And I'm so glad you like it, Sparks.
Me too.
I've always wanted you to watch Star Trek, and it finally got yeah.
I'm glad he started with a really good one, because imagine he started with like Disco season 1.
Well,
Yeah.
it's correct. It's correct on everything that we thought, which is this is a good modern entry point into Star Trek for anybody. This is a good way to walk in.
Yeah, I agree.
Phasing.
Finally, I'll talk about. I finished Thor. I did not read King Thor yet. That's the one thing I haven't read yet. I'm sorry.
You're telling me you read 100 and something issues, but you couldn't get 5 more, Brandon? Come on, Brandon.
I couldn't. I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I read all of Thor, which brought me to through and the end of War of the Realms. War of the Realms. So the stuff beforehand is really good. It's basically just like kind of leading, like kind of like setting the pieces, getting Malekith ready to like, okay, now we're going to Earth and we're going to screw things up. There's an issue of Thor that ties into War of the Realms about Kull Borson, who is the main antagonist from Fear itself, and Odin's brother, the god of fear,
The serpent.
the serpent. He's got an issue in War of the Realms that is all about him going to Svartalheim. Svartalheim. To destroy the Black Bifrost, which is Malekith's Bifrost. He created a Bifrost, and they've got like these mushrooms in Svartalheim, and they can explode. And Kull goes to destroy the Bifrost, to destroy the Black Bifrost, and he ends up accidentally saving the dark elf children that are enslaved in Malekith's mind. And throughout the course of the episode, he accidentally becomes the god of inspiration to the people of Svartalheim.
Yeah.
And he hates it, but until like the end, where he's just like, "I've always wanted to be loved."
Oh.
And it's a great bit of character development. I had not read Fear itself, so this was my first entry with Kull.
Oh.
So he's a fun character. I'm actually going to go back and read Fear itself because of this.
Love it.
So War of the Realms is super sweet. I really dug the hell out of that event. It's all about like Avengers and different characters. Like Daredevil becomes the Guardian, like Heimdall. He basically becomes a Heimdall.
Yeah, that's sick. So
It's really cool. Jason Aaron takes the opportunity to reunite his 3 Thors, which he loves to do, and I love it when he does it. Because King Thor is just so cool. Of all the Thors, like I really like Mighty Thor and all the Thor run. The King Thor stuff was like the stuff that I constantly was just like, this is the dopest thing in the world.
Sure.
And I liked everything about it. But yeah, really good. I had started reading Donny Cates's Thor run when he started, so I already kind of knew where the run, like where Thor's status quo was at the end of this, because of that run. But it was really cool to see that happen. And now Jane is Valkyrie and Thor is doing his thing and all that. So like, I'm gonna read King Thor and I'm gonna be done.
you're not gonna read Valkyrie?
Yeah, I'm actually going to, but like for Jason Aaron's like Thor run, I'm going to. But
Jason
yeah,
Aaron and Al Ewing both wrote Valkyrie, the comic.
Oh, then I'm definitely going to read it.
Yeah, he jumps off of it for the next volume, but he wrote Valkyrie. Yeah.
Because I really like Jane, and it's not a spoiler because we've all seen that the Valkyrie comic exists, but she as Valkyrie, like as when that happened, I was like, you know what, I definitely want to go back and read that. I'm also interested in reading the Angela comics because after Original Sin, she basically just disappears from the Thor title.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what she was doing with her title because she had 2 titles, one before and one after Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome run. I'm sad it's over. Like, it's so big and bombastic, and it's just so. It's all about like what it means to be worthy, and the ending is just so cool. The thing that Thor does at the end is so cool, and I won't say any more than that. Shall we get into our main topic then? Nope. Shall we get into the bread and butter then?
I was gonna say sure.
Babs.
Got a nom nom nom. He's just recharging.
Being excited is a good feeling. Are you talking about Ben?
Yeah.
Okay. You're talking about Ben when the theme was playing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have some sad news up top. Actually, quite a bit.
A lot of sad news.
LQ Jones. If you are not familiar with this name, he was Three-Fingered Jack in The Mask of Zorro.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember this character. He's the one at the beginning who introduces Antonio Banderas and his brother to the story.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Longtime character actor, but I have only seen him in that movie, and I know we've all seen that movie, so I want to give that as a reference point.
He's definitely a guy from like 60s and 70s, big and before our time. But yeah, that's awesome.
How many times my mind will just go, nobody's tough as Jack. Nobody's like, honestly, like that plays in my head almost constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he passed away this week at the age of 94.
Oh my God. Yeah. You go to his like filmography and
it's big.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Like so much that before we were born. Oh yeah.
I love
long life.
I love The Mask of Zorro. I actually really like him in The Mask of Zorro. He was always a memorable character for me.
Oh my God, dude, I'm just scrolling. This dude has done so much work. Like, he was in the Incredible Hulk TV show. Look at that.
Oh, cool. You know what? I probably saw him in something, but he wasn't dirty enough.
Yeah.
He's dirty in that.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Sirico, longtime gangster character actor from The Sopranos. He played Paulie
Walnuts.
He played Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos. He passed away at the age of 79.
Yeah, so this guy, obviously most famously for Sopranos, he was also in Goodfellas, but like he was an actual mobster who went to jail and then got out and cleaned his act up. But he's so good at being that persona, he became an actor in gangster movies. Like again, he's mostly famous for like one big role, but like what a role! Like one of the funniest dudes on that show. That's a real shame. He's definitely got legendary status for The Sopranos.
This is why everybody was sharing around his Sesame Street appearance.
Yeah. God, the Sopranos guy showing up on Sesame Street and Muppet stuff. That's so funny.
Yeah, there's a good clip going around for those that don't know where they were on Sesame Street, Tony Sirico and God, I forget the other one's name, but they're both on there from The Sopranos, and they're playing Bert and Ernie, and Bert and Ernie are giving them notes on how to better play them.
That's cute. Yeah, he was also Vinny in Family Guys. And Family Guy. There's not more than one. So he was constantly, like, I was looking at his IMDb, constantly playing a mobster in practically everything he was in.
He's really good at it. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Kazuki Takahashi, who is the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! He passed away this week at the age of 60.
Yeah.
I definitely grew up. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was one that I was heavily involved in.
Yeah, I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I still got my Yu-Gi-Oh! cards.
Yeah, I love that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I fell in love with Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks to the anime, and then when I was a subscriber to Shonen Jump, I was really enjoying the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga that was in Shonen Jump. Was one of the stories I was really invested in every month I got the magazine. So this one hurt. This one was a bit of a blow.
Yeah, I mean, he was an influential part of our childhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Sparks, did I interrupt you?
Oh, I have zero attachment to Yu-Gi-Oh, but I respect the work.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh.
Nope. Yu-Gi-Oh was not my
He didn't partake in any duels.
No.
I I love you. That first Yu-Gi-Oh series is one of my favorites. I never caught the sequels.
Once we got to like DX or GZ or SNWPDUWG, I dropped out.
I mean,
I do remember. Do you remember going to see the movie? Remember the Yu-Gi-Oh movie that played in theaters for a bit?
No,
I remember the trailers. I never saw the movie live.
I went to see the movie. Yeah.
My understanding is a lot of that anime follow-up stuff was just constant diminishing returns. But I also don't think Yuzuki Takahashi was involved in a lot of the development of those.
No,
Yeah, I think potentially he only did the first series.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he only really worked on the first series, which of course laid the groundwork for not just the show but the game as well. And every new season of Yu-Gi-Oh that comes out, they just throw in a new gimmick for the card game and just makes the card game. I mean, I still love playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I enjoy the game, but there are times where I'm like looking at all the new stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
It's honestly, it's just like Magic. Like I am used to the original stuff, and then like 20 years later, they've added so many new components and types of things.
There's so many cards. There's so many cards that we used to play with that are just no longer legal to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's also so many cards that once you lay it down, there's like the text is so small, and you need a magnifying glass to read what the effect does.
Pot of Greed. I remember you, Pot of Greed.
Ben, you and I have been trying to play with our decks for a while.
Mm-hmm. We have.
Decks.
Man, you guys should play with your decks way more often.
I heard it. As soon as I said it, I heard it. I was watching the Vanity Fair for Taika Waititi and Tessa Thompson. And she was like, and it was like Jane and Valkyrie. They're actually the same height. He goes, and they're on a deck. But he's like, I'm sorry, that's my accent. I'm saying deck, deck, because he thinks that his accent is saying dick.
Oh yeah.
It's so interesting because usually, creators of like these manga will usually, once they've ended a story, pick up something else at some point down the line. But Takahashi, once he did finish the original run of the manga, but then he just supervised the franchise after that. But he didn't write like more manga stories or anything like that, except he did have like a one shot. And then, but this was his last thing. He wrote a 2-part manga titled Secret Reverse for the Marvel Shonen Jump collaboration, which was released on Shonen Jump Plus in September 2019.
Look at that.
You're right.
That was the last thing he did.
Wow.
Got that Marvel money.
Yeah.
Teriyoshi Nakana, who was the SFX, special effects director for numerous Godzilla movies, including Terror of Mechagodzilla and Godzilla. Well, it's Return of Godzilla, but we have Godzilla 1985. Mm-hmm. He's basically the guy that directed all the the suitmation, all the little explosions, and he's that guy. Honestly, the reason why a lot of those movies look really great still. Terror of Mechagodzilla looks awesome. And he passed away at the age of 86.
A lot of long living legends passing away this week. Yeah.
And speaking of James Caan, I do not know who I do not need to say where this man is from. Elf. No, I'm kidding. He passed away at the age of 82.
Yeah. This one definitely is I used the word legend earlier, but like, man, James Caan, that's a real legacy, man. That whether you're young or old, like he's appeared in everything. He's been in voice roles. Definitely.
I joked about it, but like his role in Elf is incredible. Like quite honestly, like his whole arc in Elf he's very funny, and he's very likable.
Yeah.
I actually quite like his role in that movie.
He's Thief, the Michael Mann movie Thief. Have you ever seen that? That is an incredible neo-noir movie. My first time watching James Caan was in a really bad Adam Sandler, Damon Wayans movie from the 90s called Bulletproof, which I had VHS, and I watched that movie on repeat, where he played a shitty like mobster guy who ran the police force. But that was one of those movies that like Adam Sandler made in like 7 minutes, and James Caan wanted a paycheck. But I remember him in that movie forever. So thanks, James. Thanks, James.
I really like him. This is a sad one.
Yeah.
All right. So there's nothing else there.
He was the dad in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
You're right. He was.
Yep.
Yeah. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, he's done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I was scrolling through his filmography. Yeah, I'm impressed none of us mentioned The Godfather, but Godfather.
Yeah.
Y'all don't watch those old dramas.
Sometimes The Godfather just slips your mind. One of the greatest movies of all time just slips your mind.
The over I won't say overhyped because that's not what I mean, but like the talking about it as much as people do makes it so it's like, well, nobody needs to bring up The Godfather, but it's like, well, maybe we should mention The Godfather.
We'll get notes. Hey, you guys didn't mention The Godfather.
All right.
I mentioned Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs.
You did, and I'm really glad.
Which is because about as equivalent as The Godfather.
It would have left my brain, and you're right, just as culturally impactful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those eyebrows rising, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's as important as Al Pacino's performance from the 1975 movie.
Absolutely, 100%. I want you to write an essay about this take.
In my essay, I will.
Okay. Some Disney news. Quick Disney news. National Treasure. The show has a title, and I actually think it's a really cool title. The Edge of History.
Yeah, that's a good title.
Yeah, those are words put together, yeah.
Now let's get into some of the juicier stuff, because Captain America 4 has a director. We know that the showrunner for Falcon Winter Soldier, I just forgot the gentleman's name, but he's writing it.
There you go.
And he's not the only one. It's the other writer from the show is also there. I forget his name too. But it's both of them. They're co-writing it.
Julius Ona is going to be directing it. Now, it's from Ben's favorite movie from a couple of years ago. If you remember the Cloverfield Paradox, Ben, I'm sure you love that movie still. He is going to direct Captain America 4.
Dallin Muson is the other writer.
Mr. Julius. Yeah, the last movie he directed was Cloverfield Paradox, but he has directed
the last American movie he directed was Cloverfield.
Last American, sure. But he has done other more notable things. Just the most famous thing he did was Cloverfield Paradox, which
he does. He's a Hungarian director, I believe.
If you're hungry, Brandon, you should get some food. That was awful. Honestly, the directing is not a problem I have with Cloverfield Paradox. I think it's a pretty decently well shot movie. This definitely, feels kind of like work for hire type of thing. I can't say this guy has like a super like Sam Raimi-esque directing style, but it's I don't hate the choice. I'm not going, oh no, the movie's ruined or anything.
No, it definitely kind of feels like to me someone that Marvel could boss around.
Yeah,
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
I think that is the thing where we're looking at a lot where director visions are shining through, right?
Right now they are, yeah.
And you want that to continue, especially with Captain America 4, and it's like there's no indication one way or another of if that will be the case or not.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And they're bringing back the people from Falcon Winter Soldier, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
So
that's the one I'm most worried about, quite honestly.
Right. Yeah, the writing of it. Yeah.
1000%. Real quick, because Captain America 4 made me think of it, there is something in the week that I did forget that I also wanted to talk about. Maybe you do too. And it's the cruise video.
Yeah, the 15-minute video that you don't need to spend $1,000 on is available online now.
What video?
Oh,
the cruise Quantum Encounter.
Oh yes.
Watched it.
I was like, Tom Cruise?
No. Watched it. Perfectly happy to leave that thing right where it belongs on a cruise ship. It's badly written, poorly directed. It's nowhere near the level of direction that they brought to the Guardians of the Galaxy ride videos.
It was very clearly shot on the smallest green screen possible.
You can feel the corporate. I'm really glad it wasn't our first introduction to Miss Marvel, because she does not shine well there. But to be fair, nobody but Paul Rudd comes out really nice in that.
And it's because he's like a comedic actor.
He just knows what he's doing. He knows what he's playing, and the rest of them just don't.
Yeah, it read like a bad Avengers crossover comic, a bad one.
I did like Ross Marquand's Ultron.
But I mean, that's he's got the voice. You don't need to worry about him.
No, I know. I just think I just want to give him the props. If he ever wanted to be like Ultron forever, if they made another movie for Ultron, I'll be happy with him.
I'm pretty sure he's their Ultron now. He's been the voice in 3 things now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What If and Multiverse of Madness, and now this. So
Give him the paycheck.
Yeah,
buddy.
I wish it's not.
I get why
it just is what it is, and it's like meh.
I get why they're not releasing it to the public.
Yeah,
because it is very much maybe only the cruise ship people should see this because it's not really that great.
I would. Oh, I'm sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you guys keep talking. It's really hot in my loft right now, and I'm gonna go downstairs and get a fan because it's sweltering. I'll
Get
be
that
right
fan.
back.
I'm really happy that at no point Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel have a scene together.
that's true. That would have been a bummer.
That would have been a
would've been
bummer,
a bummer.
but like she does go, "Oh my God, was that Captain Marvel? Oh dang, I just missed her."
Yeah.
So like she saw her. So like
Yeah, but
saw Captain
she could
Marvel.
see her. She could see her. But if that's the first time I ever saw them interact, that'd be a bummer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Even still, that was too much for me. Hoping that like I want her first to be like, "Oh my God, look, it's the first time I've ever seen Captain Marvel like be in the movie or a show."
I don't think like the Marvels movie will come out and they'll be like, yeah, Miss Marvel, she's in training with Captain
Oh, of
America.
course not. No,
like that
like,
kind
this
of
is
thing.
Well, but like,
yeah.
didn't the director of that's come out and say like, yeah, it's a different universe? Because people were asking if this was canon. He was like, no, it's not. It's a different universe. Don't fuck off.
Well, dang. If it's not even connected, then who cares? then who cares at all? Why is it not connected?
That's some Superman and Lois logic of
That is some terrible, yeah.
It's
Well, 'cause,
all
like,
same actors.
Because like it was it's not made by Marvel. It's made by Disney.
Sure.
You know, it's the same principles as like the rides at Disney aren't canon to the
It's in the
MCU.
Spider-Man universe.
It's rough.
Echo, the Echo TV show. We apparently have a confirmation that Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio are both coming back as Daredevil and Kingpin, which
Is
I think
it?
we all assumed.
Is this officially confirmed or?
People are reporting it as if it is officially confirmed, but I'm saying it's reportedly confirmed, which basically just means like it's.
I am not. I heard this rumor. We heard this rumor a while ago when the show was like first happening. So like,
Yeah.
makes sense. We got Kingpin and we got Daredevil, so like it makes sense for them to show up in some type of show.
I think we all figured that.
Well,
if they were
I
to
just
show
hope they're not dominating the Echo show too much, which is one of the reasons why when like the Daredevil season 4 stuff was going around, we were like, well, that'd be pretty good so that the Echo show can be the Echo show.
I hope
Yeah.
it's like the same amount of stuff that like Kingpin was given. Although I hope it's better than like Kingpin was only in Hawkeye for like an episode and a half or whatever, or even a full episode. Like I hope it's more like that instead of it's a backdoor pilot where it's like, sorry, Echo. Because like,
do you think getting shot made Fisk forget that Matt Murdock is Daredevil?
Yes.
it's so dumb. We can't Spider-Man 3 this apparently.
What other reason was there to shoot him at the end of Hawkeye?
There was no good reason to
I
shoot
know,
him at the end of
I know.
Hawkeye.
he's gonna I hope he runs for mayor. I want to see that story in the Daredevil.
I'm sure that if they were to do that, that's going to be down the road. It's not going to be soon.
I know, but like if Daredevil season 4, which is probably next 2 years, probably, I could see like that being the conflict that Fisk is going to run for mayor, and people are like, yes, and Daredevil's
And
like,
he's gonna
no.
win.
Anyway, yeah, very excited. I love those two. Can't wait to see them together again.
Yeah, Daredevil.
We all like the Duffer Brothers, correct?
Yeah, I do.
I do.
Wow. They have formed Upside Down Pictures, which has an exclusive deal with Netflix to develop new TV shows for Netflix. And two of them, they confirmed it's the Stranger Things spinoff and a Stranger Things stage show in London, directed by the guy who did Cursed Child. So,
Okay, sure.
all right. So they've signed an exclusive deal with Netflix to develop a few things, such as a Jeffrey Addies and Will Matthews series. They're the two guys who did Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Oh, good. Give them more.
Ooh.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And a series based off of I think we can all agree one of Ben's favorite books, Stephen King and Peter Staub's The Talisman. Ooh, Ben, The Talisman. Ben's just done. Ben's done with me.
Ben, quick synopsis on The Talisman from you, please.
There's a talisman. It does bad shit. There you go.
Cool. Awesome.
You know what?
So close.
Yeah.
6 seasons and a movie. There's apparently, I don't know anything about Talisman. There's Talisman references in this newest volume of Stranger Things because they're such big fans of it. So like,
They're reading it at the end, right?
oh, is that what?
That's the book he's reading to Max at the end.
That's
is the Talisman.
There you go. I wasn't even paying attention.
So this is coming from. I'm just checking what this guy has done before. But this is coming from Curtis Gwynn, who is not currently a producer on Stranger Things.
Okay. Give him a shot.
Oh no, wait. I read IMDb wrong. He is a current producer on Stranger Things. I'm sorry. And then finally, they are going to develop a new live-action adaptation of Death Note.
I mean, can't be worse than that last one, I guess.
It can't, but at the same time, though, Death Note and Netflix don't mix.
No, but like,
no, Adam Wingard and Death Note don't mix.
No, because like I think some of the sensibilities of Stranger, like I could see, they're not the worst choice for me. The Duffer Brothers doing like a Death Note. Like, do I need another Death Note this quickly instead of something like else original or a different adaptation? I'd rather have something else. But like,
I think this is far more appealing to me if you do a Death Note without light and without without even trying to do light again. Like you're doing a different. There is pretense for this too. Sure. They did eventually make a 10 years later film follow up to the Japanese films we watched in live action about a new person taking up the Death Note, and that wasn't based on
almost like a reimagining.
It was a whole new what we're doing thing, which I really want to watch. But I think it'd be far more interesting if you're gonna do this, just do go into especially if it's going to be set in America, do something different. Don't have this be the
reimagine
the whole go a different way, create something new with it. And I'm far more interested in that than I think trying to once again do Light and his story, but in an American setting.
What's the demon's name? Ryuk? Is that right? Ryuk?
Yes, Ryuk.
They can just have it be a completely new person who gets stuck with Ryuk. Like, it doesn't have to be. Yeah, you can tell a similar story without the same people.
Yeah, actually make it an American Death Note. Actually, make it part of the plot that this is after Death Note or before Death Note or whatever the hell, and someone else finds the Death Note in America.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a special manga volume that came out after Death Note was finished. I want to say it was called the Los Angeles Murder Trials.
It's not a manga. It's a chapter. It's not a whole volume, but it's a chapter. Yes, you are correct. There is a special one that's they infamously put Trump in it. It was very political.
Yeah, the Los Angeles BB murder cases.
Yeah. But you don't need to do that either. That was very speaking to the moment of how they were feeling about the political climate, looking at America and America wanting a Death Note and all this kind of stuff. You don't need to do that either. You could just, there's so much room to just do your own thing.
The world's rich enough, you can do your own story. Yeah.
Let's be honest. If you're not creating Light and L, and you wouldn't because they're not going to be the same characters if they're set in America, then do something different. Those characters are iconic as they are. Leave them alone.
It's true.
Yeah. I just looked up at the Death Note movie. By the way, 2017. We covered that on the show.
We did.
We did.
5 years
was written by the gentleman who did Immortals, and are currently one of the writers on the Wrath of Zeus, which is the anime that Powerhouse does for Netflix.
Oh. He likes to stick with the Greek mythology, I see.
But they did that first one. That first one doesn't have bad people attached. It's just really bad.
It's just
the Immortals. Immortals isn't that great.
Which one's Immortals?
That's the one with Henry Cavill.
Oh, I've seen that with Tarsum. That movie's pretty cool.
Greek god.
Yeah, no, that movie's actually pretty cool. Have you guys seen it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was awesome.
I only saw it the once. I'm going off of a memory I saw in theaters.
Gotcha. I think that movie is better than other people give it merit. Not you. I think that movie is pretty cool.
Sparks, you like that movie, right?
I remember not having a particular problem with it, but I can't for the life of me really remember the story. I just remember the visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. The visuals were pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had to do a look in on them when I was doing a video. a list about all the actors who played Zeus, and Luke Evans was Zeus in that.
I've seen worse Greek myth films.
Oh, 100%.
It was
All
it was no Gods of Egypt without me having seen Gods of Egypt.
Oh, God.
But just hearing about it, like I definitely wasn't on that level.
No.
Yeah. I would like to revisit it, to be honest. Wakanda is getting a new 5-issue miniseries. It's going to come out in October, so that ties in with the new movie coming out.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. We'll have a rotating team of artists that's going to spotlight different Wakandan characters. The issue will be the first issue. First issue will be written by Stephanie Williams with art by Paco Medina. It's going to focus on Shuri.
Mm-hmm.
And then each issue is going to have a backup story, which is created by Evan Narcissi?
Yeah.
Narcissus? And Natasha Bustos, which will be the history of the Black Panther mantle. So every issue will be a different person who's had the Black Panther mantle.
Evan Narcisse is great. He's done a bunch of comic work. He's written Black Panther. He wrote the Black Panther Wakanda expansion for the Avengers video game. So that dude is very ingrained in Wakanda right now. So it's cool that he's still living in that world.
Yeah, I think this is a cool idea. Nice tie into the movie. Lots of, I think, also strategic to kind of get people going into the movie prepared for a non-T'Challa Black Panther.
Yes.
You know, because this is going to be about different Wakandan characters and will be about the Black Panther mantle and not T'Challa. So like I think it's to help audiences get prepared for that movie.
All the audience members who won't read this comic.
They can try. Marvel can try to get it out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we warned you.
Yeah.
All right. Trailers.
T-Talk.
We're in the park
RoboCop.
already? Wow.
We're in the park already. RoboCop Rogue City.
I love RoboCop. They made a PS2 first-person shooter that is not good. This trailer is it doesn't give me an indication if the game's going to be good or bad. It's mostly staged gameplay. It
doesn't look like anything new.
It doesn't look like anything. Yeah, it doesn't. It's going to probably be a narratively focused first-person shooter. Like any of the gameplay it showed like his tracking system, but like it doesn't look good. Like it didn't look like real gameplay. This is coming out next year, so like I'm happy it exists, but like it didn't give me anything to be like, wow, I definitely needed this.
It doesn't look like it has the kind of love and attention that the recent Alien games have had.
Yeah, it's definitely going for
a comparison of like film adaptation stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely like, oh, corporations are bad. Like, where's our money? Like, it's going for like, you know, the satire of corporate America in the future and stuff. But like, I need more for me to want to have to shell out a lot of money for a RoboCop game. I'm here for it. If they can make it a funny, like, you know, like almost like similar like The Boys type of thing, or like you're making fun of a whole base of people basically. That could work, but also gameplay's got it. I'd buy that for $1. Mag, you get it. You're the best.
Mag. Yeah, I want to say that like I think the selling point for this game, for at least for this trailer, is the reveal that it's Peter Weller's likeness and voice.
Yeah.
People got excited about that, and like rightfully so. It's cool that Peter Weller is coming back to RoboCop.
Absolutely, yeah.
In any sense. I don't know anything about this developer though, so I can't really. I didn't really get much from this.
I didn't look it up.
Namco?
Namcom. Yeah, they're the same people making like there's a Terminator survival game. They're lower budget company.
Yeah. Sure. And it does look like that because the graphics don't look like something that you'd see on a next gen console.
Yeah, it is. It's also a year away, but like, yeah, this definitely feels probably a budget game. Which again, no problems with budget games. I love budget games. But I need a little more for me to be really excited about it.
Yeah.
Well, we owe Grayson an apology because the God of War Ragnarok release date was announced with a announcement trailer of its pre-order coming this week, November 9th this year, 2022.
I don't think we owe anybody an apology. We were quite confident. We had reason to be.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with game delays or anything.
No,
I'm just like, I just want a game. I never want developers to feel crunch or stress if they can't get a game out when it's supposed to. Like game delays are always good. Everybody, like I follow all the developers on Twitter, and they're like, "Nah, man, it's coming out in November. Like we just had to make sure, and we're on track." It's still going to be real hard for it to beat Elden Ring. That's going to have to be better. It's going to have to be better than God of War for it to, I think, to beat Elden Ring, and that's going to be a tough cookie because God of War 2018 is one of the greatest games ever made, and that's a tough cookie to crack again. So I'm thrilled,
especially because like God of War 2018, you were doing something like totally new with God of War. Now it's not going to feel as new.
Yeah, and it is. Again, the game is still I'm sure going to be good, but it is reusing some of the the previous assets. It is not a completely new environment. It is a sequel, much like Horizon Forbidden West is a sequel to a game. This game's coming on the PS4 and PS5, so it is not going to be a true next gen game again. That doesn't mean anything about quality. It just means it is not going to be the next gen experience I think we'd all hope for in terms of big scale.
I think we probably should have. I think we probably should have realized that when, because this was in development just after that first game. Like they stopped developing that first game and they went into this game, and that's what they said. That's what they confirmed that. So like that was probably our cue to be like, yeah, this one was meant for the PlayStation 4. This one was not meant for a next gen console. Totally.
Yeah. And again, there's like 100 million PS4s out there. Like it makes sense for a game this big to put it on both consoles. It is just a situation where like I just know that they are being limited by older technology. So like again, the game's going to be great. Like I have no problems with that. It's just like a situation where like I know it could be more, and that's like
I do hope that I'm super stoked. Just want to say that right out loud because like God of War is one of my favorite games of all time. The 2018 one, quite honestly, all of them. I like them all. And I've been super super stoked for this idea and the way they've kind of like Star Trek 09 to Norse mythology, which was so much cool, which is so cool. This trailer got me super hyped because this is like a 30-second teaser where they're like, "Oh boy, do things, boy, whatever." But like Fenris was there, and I was like, "Damn, if we get to fight Fenris!"
Oh yeah,
yes,
this is a duology, which means this is the last Norse mythology one. So we're gonna get all the big boys. We already know we're fighting Thor because the pre-order bonus is Mjolnir's hammer.
Yeah. So Thor. So the guy who plays Thor, we've always known Thor was in it because they announced that pretty early on.
Yeah.
He's in the post credits of the game. But the voice actor for Thor did it with one of the game designers. Did like an unboxing of the pre-order specials, and guys, what a horrible time to not have money.
No, I get you. The great thing about God of War games is like after you kill somebody, you usually get their weapons in some capacity. There's no way in hell Kratos isn't wielding Mjolnir in this game.
You're getting Mjolnir.
There's no way in hell he's not going to wield Mjolnir at least for one part of this game. It's going to be spicy and juicy.
I thought this game wasn't going to come out this year at all, and the fact that they're saying that's coming out in November, I'm like, okay.
Happy birthday to us, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it comes out before our birthdays. That's even better. So, I mean, if it does happen to get delayed, I'm not going to be upset about it. But at the same time, I have there's like a feeling in my gut that wants to be optimistic, and they will make this November release date. But other than that, I'm actually really happy that we just got a quick 30-second thing with the release date coming out. I'm like, that's fine.
We haven't had like a full trailer yet, like one that like shows like other parts of the game.
We're gonna get
like,
one.
Gameplay.
We're gonna get one. We're gonna get a state of play because like every big PlayStation game gets its own state of play closer to release. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a state of play. There's probably gonna be a state of play. I'm gonna guess maybe in late August, early September, or somewhere around September, because that's normally when PlayStation they like to do a lot of their state of plays is in that part right before the holiday season hits. So we're probably gonna get like a full length trailer then. But at the same time, I'm kind of fine with just knowing that Ragnarok's coming November 9th. That's it. Here's a quick little thing for it. You know you're gonna. If you love the first one, you're gonna want to get this one. So,
Sparks.
I think it was the fact that we knew that this was the end of the Norse mythology thing that had you and I specifically hoping like, and I kind of hope it gets delayed enough that it's they like put the PS5 technology into it. Like, just is what it is.
Yeah, and it'll run better, it'll look better, but like it'll still be using PS4 technology as a base. Yeah. And again, like that's I know that probably sounds negative to people, but like I just mean like it
You want it to be
an
the best that
incredible
it could
game.
be. You want it to be the best that it could be.
Yeah. And like that will be the next one. The next one will be the holy shit, this is the future. It's just when you work on a game for 5 years, you can't just ignore the previous generation. Yeah.
Some of the pre-order editions I think are a little bit of a bummer, only specifically in the fact that none of them have a physical copy. If you look, like you'll get a steelbook, but you will not get a disc. And I'm like, what is this?
I hate this trend. This is the worst trend of all time. Games do this all the time.
My Arkham Knight. That's why I have an Arkham Knight steelbook because of that.
Yeah. This no version of the pre-order packages, the big ones, have a actual physical game attached. It's all digital codes.
That's a wild thing.
They're all digital codes of the game.
Yep.
I despise that.
But those dice, I haven't played D&D, but those dice.
It's just I don't understand why we're like, why put a steelbook in there?
Exactly.
And now like I prefer physical game discs most of the time. But like I'm like Ben in that way. But specifically, like it's just weird to have a steelbook included in 2 of these packages, and you're not getting a disc.
Yeah.
Actually, when I read the steelbook, or when I saw what the collector's edition was, I didn't see that the digital code was included. I just saw that it was like, hey, here's a steelbook, doesn't have the game disc. I'm like, well, that's shitty. So I have to buy the game and then put it in the steelbook. If I bought the collector's edition, I'm spending $100 some or over sometimes $200 on some of these collector's editions. Bitch, I better get that physical game. That's what I'm paying for. That's supposed to be the main thing.
What's the steelbook do? Nothing. It holds a disc. Where's the damn disc?
I mean,
the only time until you shell out another chunk of money to buy a disc.
Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, okay, with other games, so like there are times like Square's done this with Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 7R, where they do have where they get put out like physical deluxe editions, where it's like, hey, you get the steelbook and the game, you get all this, but it comes in 2 different covers, as in like you get your regular case and then you get the steelbook case. I don't need the spare case, but at the same time, I'm still getting the physical game, and the steelbook has room because, like with Final Fantasy 7R, that came with 2 discs, the download and the game itself. So it's like, cool, the steelbook has room for both discs. I can just swap it, and I can just put that case elsewhere.
Yeah, I feel you. I looked at that pre-order bonus. I was like, I don't need a disc, because like. That hammer, man. I was like, man, I want to be Thor.
It is pretty cool.
I want to be Thor.
I mean, I will not deny that the collector's editions, especially the one with Mjolnir, is really freaking cool. And if I had the money and I wasn't saving for Europe, I probably would. But at the same time, the fact that it doesn't include a physical copy of the game, it's just a download code, I'm already like, as much as I want the hammer, I'll probably just
there's one pre-order bonus, I believe. What, not maybe bonus, but something comes with a digital copy, like a digital code for the PS4 version with the option to buy the PS5 version for an extra $10.
Yeah, that's pretty much standard.
Yeah,
if you buy a PS4 version these days, then you pay $10 more and you can get the PS5 version. So it's to encourage, like, if you don't have a PS5 yet, don't worry, you can still spend $10 later and get the PS5.
So I thought I thought that was just the pre-order bonus, that it would be.
No,
all
that's
the pre-order bonuses would just be PlayStation 4. But you're saying there will be PS4 versions of the bonuses of the boxes. Got it.
Xbox is so much better in this regard, where you can buy a game for the Xbox and it'll play on Xbox One, Xbox Series X. It'll play everything. Depending on the developer and the publisher, you either get a free PS4 to PS5 upgrade or you pay $10. If it's a PS4 like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, those type of things, they charge you $10. Whereas like Hitman 3, they give it to you for free. It just depends if it's owned by PlayStation or not. But PlayStation makes you pay for an upgrade usually.
Right. Yeah. Knockout City, I had to pay for the PS5 upgrade.
Yeah.
I don't remember having to pay for my PS5 upgrade on Knockout City.
Maybe I didn't. I'm just misremembering.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we didn't. I'm pretty sure we didn't pay for the PS5 upgrade for the Knockout City.
Doesn't matter.
Because I know when I got
doesn't matter.
All right. No, because I'm not talking about Nakatsuki. I was going to talk about when I downloaded Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. It gave me the options like, do I want the PS4 version or the PS5 version? And since it was through PlayStation Plus, both versions were free. Didn't matter what. So I'm like, I have a PS5. Might as well get the PS5 version.
Final Fantasy VII, there was a $10 upgrade.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anything that generally is licensed onto other consoles, PS lets you just do it, but if they own it, they charge you.
Right.
There's
There's something I wanted to say about. Something else I wanted to say about. God
Ben,
of
we
War.
can't hear you when you mumble like that.
No, I'm just talking to myself. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. God of War. Exciting.
Yeah.
Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. None of us have seen the show, correct?
Nope.
No, but I want to.
Yeah.
I want to. I did watch the first episode. I forgot to write that down. I watched the first episode this morning. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of clips of it over the years, and I've been like, well, this is the turtle show I would watch right now. Is this one?
Yeah,
for
I had the same. Oh, I was wondering why you were so muffled. Your cat was in front of your microphone.
no for the animation.
Yeah.
I love the unique designs. That's one of my that is one of the things I love about the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is they all have unique designs, so you know clearly who each person is. And I always like that idea of continuing that, of like, yo, you know who this guy is just based off the looks. You don't have to, because if you're colorblind,
You don't have to pay attention to the colors.
Because if you're colorblind, that could be a problem for some people.
That is a struggle with the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is that they all look the same.
Yep. Absolutely.
But like these ones are built differently, so they feel more like individuals.
Yeah.
The original Eastman and Laird comics, they didn't even have the color to differentiate. You had to differentiate by the weapons.
Yeah. I think the animation is sick, and like it is a continuation of even of like, Emma, you crazy girl. It's a continuation of that cartoon, just with a bigger budget, and it definitely makes me. I probably won't watch the show, but like it does make me excited to like watch a movie. I'll watch a movie of this for sure.
Yeah, I thought this looked really cool. The plot of it. I mean, I like Sparks. I've been seeing stuff online about like some of the action scenes and the animation for it. So I was always kind of interested. And then this movie just looked really cool, and it was a really cool idea with Krang. And it's like, this is the most interested I'll probably ever be in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles outside of the comics. So I was like, I'm gonna just give this a shot. So I did watch the first episode. It's pretty good.
Nice.
It's interesting. That's on Paramount Plus because it's a Nickelodeon show, and then the movie is going to Netflix. It's a Netflix original.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was weird.
They probably bought rights to it before Paramount Plus existed.
Probably. Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power. Just a short little thing.
Hey, look at all the people in the show.
Yeah.
Still, I can't. It looks expensive.
The reason why I wanted to talk about this one is because I didn't know there were Ents in the show. And I'm really excited to see what they look like, because just judging by from the brief moment that we saw them, they look pretty good. I hope the CGI is good enough for these things, because that would be awesome if we could get like some screen accurate Ents on the TV show budget.
I'm not worried about the budget for this show. It is the most expensive show ever made.
I wonder if we'll see much more of the Ents than what we just saw.
I hope we do. The way it's clipped, there's this young Hobbit girl. I think she's a Hobbit. In the forest with the Ents, but that could be a misdirect.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'm excited
for the show.
it's happening.
September. Clerks 3.
The locations look good. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was my last thing.
I like Clerks a lot, and I think Clerks 2 was actually a pretty good movie. I think this looks fine. It looks fine. It doesn't look like the worst Kevin Smith movie ever made, but it looks like it's a personal, because he has heart attack, he did almost die, so like he's putting a lot of that in this movie. So like this definitely feels like a more personal movie than some of his other recent work. So
wasn't that what the last one? Wasn't that what the last Jay and Silent Bob was too?
Oh, you know what? Well, that's more about making fun of reboots. This definitely feels more.
No, that was he was like, I came out of the heart attack and I wanted to make this movie about that.
Well, I guess fuck me. I guess I don't know.
So like he's doing it again. Really, I mean, good for him. He's making the movies he wants to make, but like, it is essentially the same kind of. It comes from the same thematic place.
Sure, yeah. If you like the View Askewverse, I think this looks completely charming. If you want more Kevin Smith, there are worse. I think this looks better than the Jay and Silent Bob movie did. Because you are getting the entire cast back. I know, like the lead guys, like they didn't really care for coming back, but like he was able to show them a script that they liked enough. So like for the general audience, like this does nothing for most people, but I think, but like if you're looking for another Clerks movie, this could look worse.
Right, like if you're already in that groove.
Yeah, if you're already in that groove, like this doesn't look as bad as Yoga Hosers.
Mhm.
So like, sure.
Luck.
Yeah, the animated one.
Yeah.
This looks cute.
Yeah, I really like the kind of vibe of this. I do like the animation, but the voice acting is what I'm really interested in. So for whatever reason, there's something really cool about. I don't know. There's something that I just really like about like the cast working together and the way they're playing off of each other, and even though they're not in the same room. They might have recorded in the same room, but unlikely. But like for whatever reason, that's the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks fun because of the voice cast.
I don't even know who's in it.
Simon Pegg is the cat. That's the only one enough.
I didn't even. I thought it was Craig Ferguson.
Yeah, I thought it was Craig Ferguson too.
And Simon Pegg, he's doing his Scotty.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. This looks good. I'm not gonna say I loved it. I like the premise a lot of like luck being like an entire like world thing they have to deal with. And she has no luck of it. And a black cat. I love black cats.
That is Jane Fonda as the dragon.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This looks. Is this like Apple's first like big animated movie, or have they done other ones?
I can't tell off the top of my head.
I'm
Maybe
gonna say it's the first big one then.
Cool.
And it looks charming enough. I'm not gonna say I'll immediately go and check it out. I'm on Apple TV subscription I don't have, but the animation's nice for sure.
Yeah. We got a full trailer for Paper Girls.
Yes.
Ben, you excited for the animated movie at all?
I mean, it looks fine. It looks fine.
Yeah. I thought it looked fine, yeah. Paper Girls. This trailer is fine. I don't think it shows a lot of what the show is. It feels kind of it's very Stranger Things, which again, that's what the comic is. But it didn't do anything more than the teaser kind of gave me. It's just a longer version of the teaser in a way.
We do get more of a sense of who the villains are in this. We get more. We do get more interplay between the four girls.
Yeah.
The joke at the end that honestly got to me really bad. She gave you a cool shirt that says "dumb" on it.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really funny for some reason.
Yeah.
I think this was pretty good. I hope it's great because like I want to watch it.
I like the energy of it. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
Ben, yes or no? Do you have anything to say about Paper Girls?
Not really.
Cool. The Woman King.
Want to see this?
Viola Davis got some abs. She put on some muscle.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this Black Panther spinoff. That's rude.
That's
a true story. It's a true story.
Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah. I think this looks exceptional. I'm always unfortunate for the princess that came out, but like I am always a fan of saying like, yo man, women kick ass too.
We got Lashana Lynch.
Yeah, I like it's like
here.
Yeah.
John Boyega.
John
Boyega's been hyped about this for a while.
Finally showing up in movies again. Please be in more movies, my guy.
No, he's been really happy with this one.
Yeah. I think this looks awesome. It looks really engaging, really exciting. Man, I love a good kill a colonizer story. Big fan. Keep it up with RRR.
You know what it made me think of more than Black Panther was Lovecraft Country.
Okay, yeah, sure.
When she flashes back.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. Like give me more of that.
I always like. I mean, it's the reason why I like the Dora Milaje, Black Panther. I like this idea of like warrior women who are far stronger than the men. They are the ones who protect the society. Like I like that story. I was happy to see that this was a true story. I think that's really awesome.
I couldn't tell because it was like really quick if it was Lashana Lynch or someone else, but there's like one shot where they're just like going like crazy eyes on him, and I'm like, yeah, do it, get it. I should men get to do all of it. Let them do it. It'll be good.
Right, that shit. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I want to see Viola Davis kick some ass, take some names.
The Woman King.
Light and magic.
I like behind the scenes special effects stuff. So this looks fantastic.
That seems like a fun docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6-part docuseries about what's the company name?
Industrial Light and Magic.
Industrial Light and Magic. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I really like when all these people get to talk about Industrial Light and Magic because they are the VFX house. They are the ones who started it all, essentially. Like they, the way they started it is incredible. The story of how they began is great. And then you get Steven Spielberg and Ron Howard and James Cameron, all these people who've worked with Industrial Light and Magic be like, yes, they're the best. This is why I love working with them, and hopefully it's really, really unlikely, but George Lucas, maybe this is the first like thing that George Lucas comes back for like a minute, do like a soundbite.
Yeah. I spend all of my time online, so I have watched many like fan made, admittedly, but I've seen tons of documentaries about ILM. Yeah. So I'm curious if they will be able to give me anything new. They are getting like the original directors back, who they have gotten for some of these YouTube documentaries. Like they have millions of views, right? So like they're not like super low budget or anything. So I'm curious if I will be able to get any additional information as someone who's watched 20 years of YouTube documentaries about them.
I'm interested in some of the people who like I don't know the name of.
Yes.
And like who are the people who were like, yeah, we were the foundation. Like that one lady at the end who's like, we were the Rebel Alliance. Like they were the foundation of ILM, and they were the people who were coming in with imagination and genius. And I want to hear what they have to say.
That was cool seeing Phil Tippett. He has a soundbite in this trailer also.
Phil Tippett's Mad God. Yeah, because like watching just like the behind the scenes of all the Star Wars movies and stuff, like I feel like I've gotten so much like I know how they made all those special effects for A New Hope. I've seen that a couple times by now. So I'm curious like what new information I can grasp out of it, because it's out there. It's been out there for a long time.
Maybe it won't be so much about like how they made the thing, but like how they made the visual thing, but how they brought the company together.
Yeah, through the people.
Through the people. And I think that's maybe what it's going for.
Yeah.
It's and their journey to constantly innovating even now.
Yeah. And like that'll come through the lens of like some of the things they created and like how they had to think about them and that kind of thing. But more about like them coming together as a group.
Community unit.
Those things are so interesting to listen to, because like I mentioned last year, like listening to the Halloween podcast where they had like the people on who like came up with how to film certain scenes and like what Michael Myers' look would be, and just like listening to people talk about how they come up with these ideas and translate from idea to screen and have to collaborate and listen to others on it is what's interesting. So I think that we might get more of that here.
Oh yeah, and it is really fascinating. No matter how many times I've like seen it, like how do you go from we don't have special effects to we have special effects?
Yeah,
like that is truly that is something really cool to see. Of like we had to make all this shit up, and luckily it turned into like an entire industry.
Like the one shot of that they show in the trailer of the sand crawler with the camera, like the sand crawler model, the guy's just like throwing sand. Tossing the sand. This is how we do it.
I love to see like little ships on sticks. I'm like, man, we've come so far.
No, I just love to see like when I forgot what scene was. There was a scene on the Death Star where a ship blows up and they actually have like a little mini pyrotechnic go off. And there's a guy right there with the camera trying to get the shot, or you see the TIE fighter break the wing breaks off and it's floating or it's spinning in the air.
See, that's what's so interesting. Like watching Corridor Crew is really fun too, because like they'll sometimes do like these early special effects, like for like Tron. Because Tron was like the first one to use a computer. Like before that, they had to put these visual effects, what we would consider CGI now, it would be like filming CGI. That's essentially what this is. Like they had to film assets, cut them in, put them in different pieces of the film. And nowadays we just have a computer, and that's how we put it back into the movie.
Yeah, it's become complex but simpler at the same time.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not as dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that I mentioned Tron, it just reminded me of this little fun fact about Tron not getting nominated for an Oscar because the Academy thought they cheated since they used computers.
Yep. I remember that. Not the Oscars. I remember that fact. All right, that's all. That's everything. That's all the news. Should we go into our main topic then?
Let's bring the love. And thunder.
All right.
I don't know if it cut off right when I said love or if you got the whole snippet in.
Either way, it's coming out in the edit. All right, so guys, we are talking about Thor: Love and Thunder. Full spoilers if you have not seen the latest film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Skip ahead, pause us, close us out. We already got your view. Go see it. Whatever. Pause. Do whatever you want. But full spoilers from here on out. So what do we think about Thor: Love and Thunder?
I had a pretty good time with this movie. I think it's a lot of fun.
Sparks or Ben?
I loved it.
Ben?
I also had a pretty good time. I think this is like my second favorite Thor film, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
I
sure.
like the first Thor film, but that's not hard. Yeah, I had a really great time with this one. I wish I could have seen it again. So there was something we will talk about that I said was if this happens at the end of the movie, this is going to be the best Marvel movie ever. Look, it's not. But like, I can't not like this movie because something that I've wanted for years happens in this movie.
You got Hercules.
And that's pretty cool. But no.
You don't care about Hercules.
I like Hercules. I've read Guardians of the Galaxy by Al Ewing. He's cool.
Okay.
I don't not care. Yes. So where do we want to start with this one?
The beginning.
The Korg
story of the
recap.
Yeah,
I think that's really funny.
I like everything about it. I like so much of this movie.
The Korg recap was fun because it was just like, and then he mourned his brother, and then he mourned his brother again, and then he mourned his brother a third time.
If you didn't see any of the Thor movies or the Avengers movies or any Marvel movie, I think you get just enough to like, this is where Thor is now.
Yeah.
Which is
Or like
fun.
if you haven't seen them for a while, because like I do think it's important to have, if you didn't just rewatch those movies, which I rewatched all of them. I rewatched every movie with Thor in it in this past week. But if you didn't just do that, it's important to know emotionally where Thor's at. Because he's gone through a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's weighing on him in this movie. And I think that you do need to just be like, hey, by the way, don't forget.
Yeah.
Thor's been through a lot. And I thought that they executed that part really well. My only negative of the film, truly, is that I just wanted more time with things. Like, I just thought the movie needed to be this short. That's really my big negative.
Yeah.
That is one of my negatives as well. The fact that like coming out of it, I don't mind the pace of the film. I think it's brisk, but this is unlike Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, which I like its 2-hour runtime. But this one felt like you could have added stuff. There's plenty that you could have added that would have been a net positive to this film, would have really helped us with staying in a moment, which we don't really get to.
Yeah, that is my mixture to play. Like, I honestly don't really have any negatives besides like the moments that I wanted to last longer didn't last longer. That's just me being selfish. Like, I liked everything in it. I wish there was more of it. Unlike other movies where like I can feel where they edited some of this movie out, but unlike other movies, like it doesn't make the movie worse. It's just like, man, I wish there was more of it because it's good.
Right.
I agree with that. There was a few times in the movie, especially in the beginning, some of the line delivery was kind of, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me. Especially when like with Chris Pratt, there was like a part of Chris Pratt, like half of them was like, I don't know if this was Thor projecting on Chris Pratt. I don't know. It just, there was this line where Chris Pratt in the very beginning when he comes out and they're talking about like, hey, you gotta look into the people you love, that's people you love, that scene. But when it first starts off, it's like, Thor, if I may. It's like, you may. It's like, is Chris Pratt asking Thor for permission to talk?
No, he's not. He's being facetious to Thor.
Oh, okay.
He wants to tell Thor, get the hell off my ship.
He's trying to kick him out.
Okay.
And he goes to him to be polite. Thor, if I may.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta tell you, like, coming from Infinity War and Endgame just a few days before, literally the day before, watching this one, Star-Lord's written so much worse in those movies. So fucking much worse in those movies than he is here.
I was watching this and I was like, this is the most I've liked Star-Lord in a while, honestly. And he's not in it that much, but I think Chris Pratt looks good as Star-Lord, and I think he's doing a good job with this dialogue. This is a good characterization for Star-Lord.
Okay. I didn't catch that he was being facetious, and now that I think about it, he totally was. I retract that statement.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I really like the beginning. You just reminded me of when Thor Mary Poppins out of there.
Oh,
He just puts his
Thor,
hand
not Mary
between his
Poppins.
No, he's a
He's a
witch.
witch. He's just the Wicked Witch.
Right. He's the Wicked Witch. He's just like, now, come on, there's a battle to win. It just flies down there.
I will say, comedy is extremely subjective, and if you don't like this movie because you don't think it's funny, that's a valid criticism. I'm not gonna fight anyone who doesn't think it's funny. Taika Waititi's comedy works for me almost all the time.
Right.
He might be throwing out 100 jokes a minute, but I don't think any of the jokes are bad. It just means not everyone will land with a hearty guffaw. But like this opening scene, I really enjoyed Thor being silly. Like he's talking to the alien and like, this is our temple, and the guy's like, oh
Yeah, he's
like, it's just Taika Waititi's like comic mentality just works for me. So like even the jokes that aren't funny, I'm still hanging with it. I don't turn my brain off like just like ignore the rest of it. Like I think this is still a very funny movie throughout. I don't think it's as strong as Ragnarok, but I do think I was laughing the whole time. Like thankfully
Yeah.
I thought it was funny the whole time.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. Taika Waititi works for me 97% of the time, and that is great because like I can always, there's always gonna be something that I'm laughing at in this movie, regardless of if every joke, if he throws out 100 jokes and 97 of them work, that's a win.
Mm-hmm.
We said we were going to talk about the opening, but then we didn't. Which is Gore with his daughter.
Gore with his daughter. I wrote that note to be like, I want to talk about Gore with his daughter.
With Chris Hemsworth's daughter, and going to the Necrosword and meeting his god, and I thought all this adapted Gore quite well.
Me too.
For film,
the God of Light. That is one of the vampires from the What We Do in the Shadows movie.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, big fan.
They do like it, some people have called this out as like bad CGI, the way that like the God of Light looks with like his outfit and his head, and I disagree. I think it looks disorienting in a way that it should.
He's like a big man.
Yeah,
he's a god. Gods are supposed to be like imposing figures.
I think people are uncomfortable with they do a straight on shot of him when he's talking to Gore, and straight on shots can be jarring in general, but like when you do have like CGI stuff, and there is CGI stuff to make him look big, and his with his headdress and everything, like his head does look like it awkwardly moves on his body, but it didn't feel like bad CGI. It just felt like this god feels weird. And just like a truly uncomfortable way, like how uncomfortable it would be to be with a giant god.
When we were watching the movie, when it gets to the opening with Gore and his daughter, which I absolutely love. I think it's all well done, great tone, all throughout. Great way, it's a great shot. And in the comic, the Necrosword falls from the sky, with the two beings who are fighting. And I thought we were going to see that. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be so cool to see that moment. But I think what they did was much better for the movie, because they had like the previous guy who had the Necrosword, which makes it kind of this thing where it's like this cancer that is being passed from person to person in its quest to kill gods.
Right.
And I think that was a cool change.
Not only do I think that was a smart change for the film, but like up to that moment in the film, I was feeling like, if it's just him and his daughter, we're not really getting the full sense of like how dedicated all of his people were to the gods and that they abandoned them. But then you get that because he encounters the god and has a conversation with him and says, I'm the last of your disciples. And the god does not give a shit. Yeah. And that tells you everything instead. Yeah. And that worked totally fine. Totally great for me.
Yeah, I agree. And then we do then that's the Guardians bit. So we talked a bit about the top, but can we talk about the goats real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
Unless you don't want to.
No, it's fine.
Goats are great.
The goats, I was worried were going to wear thin. But I gotta tell you guys, up until the last frame of this movie, I was laughing every single time those goats screamed.
They I could definitely see people getting tired of the goats. But I think that they're put into enough different situations where it keeps it funny. Like you first meet them and they're laughing, so that's funny. But then they're on the Guardian ship,
And
That's
Nebula's about to shoot them.
yeah, she's about to shoot him. Yeah.
We'll use them for meat. Ah!
Yeah. They run into the moon, which is probably the best gag.
The moon bit just because it's a beat. It's a slam beat.
It's a tiny moon. Great,
So good.
good physical comedy.
I will not lie. At first, I thought the goats and my cat's meowing. Suki, it's okay, baby.
I'll scream at it.
Yeah, she apparently she likes the screaming goats. I really thought the screaming goats were gonna wear super thin, and like the scene on the ship is like, okay, if this is what them the entire film, this is gonna get annoying real quick. But they were actually played just enough that every time, like Brandon, when they scream, it was funny.
Because they're not screaming goats in the comics. Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder are from Norse mythology, but also the comics. And Thor just rides them into battle when he doesn't have Mjolnir. But they're not screaming all the time. And so that was a Taika Waititi change. And I was really happy that it worked so well for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it like being a gift from the people that he saved, like he can't say no to them, and like clearly they don't want him either.
They don't.
You have accepted them, so they must go with you now.
Yeah.
Because now he's not the god of thunder anymore. He's the god of devastation, as they call him in the send off conversation where they give him the goats. They're like, Thor, god of devastation.
Like, do you want to talk about the temple? I really don't. I'm gonna get mad.
It's making me sad.
Yeah,
it's making me sad. It's really good.
One of the things I wish we'd lingered a bit more on were the dead gods. I liked that we see the Guardians of the Galaxy getting distress calls from different populations who are finding all their gods dead, and there's some pretty gruesome imagery that's lifted from the comics in that moment. But I do wish we had more of Thor seeing Gore's devastation before Gore shows up.
That is definitely, now that the movie's out, that's definitely a lot of stuff that got cut. Lena Headey was apparently a god who got murdered, and there was like a whole entire subplot of like Thor meeting her and her dying and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Goldblum and the dwarf guy,
Peter Dinklage,
Eitri from Peter Dinklage. Apparently, like they were both going to get killed by Gore, and they decided to cut that from the movie for timing purposes, like tonal purposes, whatever. But like there was more Gore butchering, and I could have used definitely more of it, but again, like gives you just enough.
It's the thing that you're talking about. It's the thing that you talked about when you said there should be more, which is like it's you being greedy. It's me being greedy too. I like the stuff in this movie, and I would have happily had 30 more minutes. Yeah, pretty much.
It gives you just enough to realize the threat. Yeah. And us coming from the comics, like we know the potential is there.
And it's good that they use. I have mixed feelings about Sif's usage in this movie, but it is good that they use a god that is in immediate danger that Thor knows and has a relationship with in the form of Sif, who's in her comic accurate costume, which was cool.
Yeah, right.
But so that gives it the weight, but like still, I do wish that we would have had more gods from different populations showing up dead.
I think for me, I just wish that there had been an implication of more time passing where Gore was doing this, and they just hadn't figured it out yet. Mm-hmm. But because it's translated through the distress signal thing, even if it's just we didn't activate the distress signals today, they kind of all come in at once, which feels like Gore is just like doing all this in a day, and I'm like, I wish we were just learning about this or something like that. And you still you get some amount of that implication, right? Because like the tribe that comes up to Thor says our gods are dead, and now that the gods are dead, the temple was left abandoned and they came in. Mm-hmm. And so like the nuggets were there to expand on the timeline of that, just didn't, which is fine.
Yeah.
I also could have used more time with the Guardians, frankly.
Yeah, sure.
Before they vamoosed.
I thought they were going to come back.
But they wouldn't have added much to the story. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I like Kraglin. Kraglin's there. I'm real happy about it. Marries someone on every planet they go to.
The joke with Kraglin is so good. Buddy, have you been here the whole time? Yeah, I'm married. What have I told you? You can't marry every person on every planet.
He's just becoming a little ego. Look at him.
I really liked Kraglin's inclusion, and it was nice to see. It was nice to see a relationship had progressed between Thor and all of the Guardians. Like, he's no longer competing with Chris Pratt, or at least Chris Pratt doesn't think of him as a threat anymore. Mm-hmm. And you get that a little bit of Rocket and Nebula being closer than the others because they spent the 5 years together.
Yeah.
It's all there, and it's kind of nice that like that was able to just be plopped in as like just some good Guardian stuff.
Yeah, because like they didn't need any like little character moments between any of them. They could have just had Thor is with them and then he leaves, but like it is the nice little attention of like, no, all these people have gone through their own journeys too and stuff, and it's like the little attention to detail to that is nice.
I do still kind of stand by my assessment that we talked about a little while ago about kind of wish that the Guardians came back around for the final confrontation with Gore, or at least like what they thought might be the final confrontation with Gore. Because if they were going to like address these distress signals, and like Thor could call on them for help, but the clean break like does leave room for what is the point of the film. So like again, that's kind of fluff, but it is like that would have been nice.
I see what you mean. I don't know how.
I want other things in the movie more.
Yeah,
it just is a sense of like Thor was just with the Guardians. If Thor needs help, why wouldn't he call the Guardians?
Yeah, that's fair.
And the Guardians could they could have been how the kids get back from New Asgard.
Yeah, there's they're perfectly happy with what we get instead, because like it's more focused on Thor and Jane and Gore, which is where the film should be focused.
And the Thor kids.
It in a logic sense of like, if I'm Thor and I just left that team, I need a team to get the kids. I would call the Guardians, say, hey, these kids, can you help get to
Yeah, I agree. I like the I like that all of a sudden Heimdall has a son.
Love it.
Astrid.
Axel.
Astrid.
He likes to go
Astrid.
by Axel. Sorry.
Oh, he doesn't. Wait, isn't Axel? You're right.
No, he wants to be named Axel after Axel Foley. Axel
But
Rose.
then he changes his mind, right?
No, his born name is Astrid. He wants to be called Axel, and Thor doesn't want to call him that.
Because he's too old to understand.
Axel Heimdallson.
I always like that name.
I did. I was like, it's like your dad gave you a really cool Viking name, and I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the. I was surprised at how much I like the kids' inclusion, and it leads to one of my favorite scenes, which is Gore torturing them. I guess. Yeah. With like the worm thing.
Yeah.
He figured out what kind of story they like. He's just trying to tell them a nice story.
They like heads getting chopped off, so let's give it to him. Yeah.
I'm so happy Christian Bale Gore comes out much better than Malekith.
Yeah.
Christian Bale is incredible, and they give Gore just enough to make him a good villain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and he still gets. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was gonna say there was definitely a reason I was looking forward to seeing this movie, because there's like snippets of an interview Chris Hemsworth did saying that he absolutely loves Christian Bale as Gore. He thought it was one of the best things in the movie or something to that effect. And seeing this movie, it's like he's not wrong. Christian Bale is amazing as Gore. I think he did a fantastic job of just being absolutely terrifying.
The way they use shadows to obscure part of his face with just like the yellow eyes, they're yellow.
So good.
He got
eyes.
He got unhinged just enough without like going over the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it didn't go into full tilt performance, but he would get like, like loose with the kids, or when he's taunting Valkyrie, and he'll let himself emotionally get a little rambunctious and out of control, but it never got to like, I have gone full Joker over the edge. Here we go.
He gets a little goofy, which is fun. Like his scene with the kid, like it is like a fun menacing of like, oh, you don't like I thought you like heads getting chopped off. Like he has a proper amount of menace and fun,
and he does a good job of turning from that to, I knew a girl like you, and then it gets deeper and deeper into the emotions that he doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think just Christian Bale is just, truly one of the best villains we've seen in the MCU.
He's real good. He's not in the movie. Again, it's me being greedy. He's not in the movie as much as I assumed for our main villain to be. Like, I feel like he kind of pops in and out. Like, but
that's why I referenced him to Malekith, because Malekith has more screen time, but a far less developed villain. Christian Bale does more with less in this movie.
Oh yeah. Every time he's on screen, you're like, oh yeah, he's not phoning it in. Oh yeah.
And he's having a good time.
Yeah, because I'm selfish. Said I wanted more time with him because I'm selfish.
We got King Valkyrie hates bureaucracy, hates writing stuff.
fantastic outfits.
Yeah.
The montage of Tessa Thompson's different suits as King,
Mhm.
just great outfits. Tessa Thompson looks so good.
I think New Asgard looks really good from
It
the
does.
last time I've seen it.
Man, it is a tourist place.
Oh,
It went
real
from
quick.
a quaint little fishing town to a huge town with a booming tourist industry.
Cruise ships.
Because I saw this film twice, and the second time I thought about some of these things, and like, I don't care. I love the movie, so these are like, boy, you could nitpick these if you want to. I don't give a shit.
Mhm.
But it is funny to me that we do a whole montage of many gods in Thor's life having been killed, and then it's like the Necro Sword, which can kill gods, and I'm like, I've seen a lot of gods die though, so I don't know. Is it that special that it can kill gods?
It's
Small
one of those
G.
things- yeah, it's one of those things where like they could have said like, oh, it has the power to end like omnipotent life, something. Because again, we have seen a bunch of gods get murdered.
Right? Yeah. It's I was kind of like,
Thanos had
I
no
mean-
problems.
I mean, okay, the
Yeah.
Necro Sword. It's still cool. I think that they play it off just fine in the film.
Yeah.
Similar deal about finding eternity, that Bifrost is the key. That's kind of our whole point. Gore gets to eternity at the end. Thor just happens to know where that is with the lightning bolt and goes. And then not only does Thor, but so does Warsong with Jane know where that is. So they got it. I mean, technically, does Warsong travel on the Bifrost?
No.
Warsong?
Yeah, the horse.
Oh,
Valkyrie's horse.
oh, I forgot. Yeah.
No, it's a different.
Yeah, I
way
thought
to
so. It's a different thing.
travel.
So like they both figure out how to get there somehow.
She just like ports in or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. It's a great
I like
movie.
that effect, the porting in effect that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
saw from
It just
Ragnarok.
is a little funny when like the semantics of the movie of like why it's happening is like only the Bifrost can take you to where that is, and I'm like, okay.
This is a Taika Waititi. This is where the 97% work for me, and this is one of the ones that didn't work for me. Didn't work for me is actually a strong word. I'm not too negative on this, honestly. It is strange though that there is a place on New Asgard that is called Infinity Cones, which is a very funny pun. But
Yes.
Thanos wiped out half their population twice.
Yes. I also am like, that's real funny, but okay, sure.
Thanos attacked them after their planet was killed, and then snapped half of them away.
It's like making an ice cream parlor based around the Twin Towers.
Yeah,
It's
a little bit,
it's
isn't
a
it?
little weird. It is though. It's a
Yeah.
little weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I mean, I laughed at the pun of Infinity.
See the plane.
Mhm.
I laughed at the pun of Infinity Cones, but then you're right. The more I think about it, the more it's like you probably.
It's not
that's
a
little
detractor. It's not a detractor at any
Not
means.
at all.
Right.
These are movies, and it's not a real devastating event that occurred. Like,
Yeah.
but it is just a little odd if you think about it.
I've
You're like,
seen-
how would some people feel about going to this place?
Yeah, I've seen counter arguments to it too, but I honestly just don't care either way.
Yeah.
Honestly,
No,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I get why people are hung up on it, but like, hey, the Infinity Gauntlet, like Tony used one to save the universe too.
It's
so,
super.
like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
whatever. So
It's
like,
also the thing that brought them back.
So
That's
I'm not-
an excellent point.
I'm not
You know what?
gonna-
Which
You know what
honestly
would have been
means-
fun? Would have been fun if it was the Iron Man gauntlet and not.
I was gonna
the-
say it feels like it should have been the Iron Man gauntlet because then you're celebrating the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
that brought everybody back
Absolutely.
and saved everybody instead of celebrating the one that Thanos had that killed everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. Like you're going for the more common look as far as like what we know from the comics and everything, but like it should be the Iron Man gauntlet, and that would make more sense.
I do
right?
agree with that.
And
Yeah.
all of these should be taken in jest because, quite honestly, this movie rules.
It's a super colorful, funny gag. I don't really care. If you think about it, it's like, wait.
Because you brought it up. I want to talk about the thing that makes this movie impossible for me to hate for all of time,
Okay.
for all of eternity, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said in the beginning of this movie, when there was like, when I hear the Necro Sword, use Bifrost, find eternity, erase all the gods, whatever. I was like, oh man, if we see eternity in this movie, I'm gonna flip because I've wanted. How many times has eternity been on my bingo card in the past 4 years?
And this one's.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know, man. So like, I think when they get to the well, it's like, okay, well, that's eternity, and they're gonna wish to the thing, and then and then eternity is in this movie, visualized very well, I might add. I flipped. I was just like,
I turned
Yes.
I turned to Ryan when they got to the location of the eternity statue, and I was like, we should have made a bingo card.
Yeah.
Everybody would have finally gotten one.
Because like there's a lot of statues in there. Oh, by the way, Uatu, really cool detail that Uatu looks like the What If version.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about them when we saw a glimpse of them in the trailer, because you got Death in there.
Yeah. The Living Tribunal.
The Living Tribunal, yeah.
I know it's all CG, but it's still cool detail.
But it's still nice. Like, that's the most acknowledgement of those entities we've gotten in the MCU films.
It's interesting that the cosmic entity of eternity is much more than you get a wish, but it doesn't bother me. Eternity is like the guy who shows up when like you're threatening reality. We can't be doing this shit.
Well, and also like
we just read the Avengers Mech comic where Eternity gets Black Panther power. So like it is much more than just a simple wishing well thing. So I hope this isn't the little end of Eternity, but if it is, like, I'm not gonna.
Well, I don't think
it's the people who come through the well.
I don't think it's that either, because they say like the specific line is the first mortal to reach eternity gets a wish granted, which means nobody else after that.
Yeah,
it's this one thing. One person gets to come to eternity and get a wish granted in all of eternity, and that's it. Eternity's doing other shit the rest of the time.
Everybody gets
one person gets one.
Eternity is one of my favorite visual things to see in comic book art, because like, you know, there's the classic version of Eternity, which is just like the white page, and you just see the figure with the galaxies and the stars inside of it, and that's really cool. But I really like it when Eternity is speaking to people within space, and so you just see like a starscape, and you just see like eyes, and maybe like a kind of a shadow shape. And either one of those I would have been really okay with. But I kind of like the way it visualized with like in the well, like in kind of ethereal waters. This kind of figure.
I really like that too. I like the visual setup of the location and everything, and Eternity did look great. My favorite moment of the Eternity visual, honestly, was when Gore's daughter is walking towards him, and you see the reflection looks like Eternity.
Yeah.
I thought that was really neat.
It's a great polar opposite of the beginning of the movie, Gore being in a desert. Yeah, and the movie ends in water. Yeah. I don't think it's like, just visually, it's really that's good stuff, Taika. I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And you said Hercules. Get a post-credit scene for Hercules. Finally.
Well, let's talk about Jane Foster, like the star of the movie, before we move on to Hercules. He's in it for 2 seconds. I love
so good.
Jane Foster so much in this movie, and like I can get why people are a little iffed that this was a one and done thing. I think for the movie and for this universe, I think it works exceptionally well. I think it works extremely well for the character of Thor and his journey. I think if you do the entire cancer story and then immediately get rid of it, it kind of removes the whole point of this movie. So like, I think Jane going is the best logical thing for this movie, and I think it's done exceptionally well, and I think it's beautiful.
Which really, like, my only hang up on it just comes back to, well, I just want more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Because I'm a selfish baby boy.
Oh yeah.
And I want more of my Jane Thor.
Oh yeah.
I never thought that we'd get more than this for Jane Foster, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. Because up until this movie was out, like, Natalie Portman hadn't been saying like, oh, I'd love to come back. I want to come back. Like, you know, now she's saying she would like to come back if the story was there. But prior to this, I was still operating on the assumption of like, this would feel like Taika was like, I want to do this one story with you. Mm-hmm. So will you come back for this one thing?
Taika clearly likes working with her because he wants her in Star Wars.
Yeah, that was funny.
So I'm sure that there's room, but like, I really like this story. It is just something where, like, if I could, we know there was a 4-hour cut of this movie originally, and I don't need a 4-hour cut, but I wouldn't mind an extra half hour that put back in some of the Jane and Thor stuff, or putting back in some of the Gore stuff. That's all stuff I really want to see. The only things we know for sure we've seen that aren't in this movie are mostly clips with the Guardians that were in the trailers that didn't make it into this cut.
Yeah.
Told Ryan specifically, there's one I keep thinking about, is the one where the Guardians are rushing forward in battle and Thor is like solemnly turning away from it in his armor. I'm just so curious what that scene was about. But like, I don't need more of them as much as I want more of Jane and Thor, and I want more of Gore. But I'm still totally satisfied with what I got in this movie. I just want more.
Yeah. I have a few notes about Mighty Thor, about Jane. I think that her adaptation, like this is mostly an adaptation, like as far as she is concerned, it is her arc from the Mighty Thor comic book. I really like how they condensed it, in a sense of like, the hammer isn't actually curing her; it's just kind of keeping her on life support.
Mm-hmm.
Because like in the comic, when she has the hammer, she has no cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But here it's like, no, the cancer is still there and it's still weakening her. She gets weak as Thor sometimes. You know, that's when we see her in the bathroom, which is a scene that I really like. The quick transition when she drops Mjolnir,
Mm-hmm.
and she becomes like Cancer Jane. And then we see her kind of like very weak and kind of like looking in the mirror, and then she summons the hammer again, and the quick transformation to Mighty Thor. I think that's all really good stuff.
Yeah.
Even the end of like Thor saying like, don't do this, the hammer's killing you.
That's another relationship that I will say, like, I think maybe even more crucially than the other stuff I was saying I wanted more of in this movie is Valkyrie and Jane.
Oh, sure.
There's clearly like some bond there, and I wish we got a little bit more time with it.
Yeah, because Jane has already been Mighty Thor for a bit. I don't know how long exactly, but Valkyrie's not surprised when Jane shows up at the battle with Gore.
Yeah. No, yeah,
And
yeah.
Asgard.
She's been doing something for a bit there.
Yeah.
And she also knows about the cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this was something I talked to. I don't know if it was you or Megan, but like I talked about like one thing I do feel like this film didn't quite fully get to deliver on the promise of was they talked about, you know, with Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie that she was going to be a king seeking a queen. Was something they wanted to do, and that did not make it into this version of the film. I think there's still like very, very much more obvious indications of her bisexuality present in this film than there were in Ragnarok, but like it feels like that's one of the other things that feels like got cut out, is that for a time she was interested in Jane.
So there is behind the scenes shots of Natalie Portman powering up at the side of Mjolnir that was cut, and I think that's actually stronger because it would reveal that she becomes Thor then instead of when Thor meets her, which I think is better for the story.
I agree.
So I agree. So I like that cut, but there was an entire section of her being Mighty Thor in Asgard at the beginning, and then she meets Valkyrie. So yeah, all that stuff they could cut.
Yeah. I liked I really do like how they include Jane's story. I did have something else I wanted to add to that, but that's fine. It's gone.
I love that we get Darcy back and Selvig back for small appearances. Really, really nice.
Yeah, it kind of brings it all back full circle.
Also, Daryl from the shorts that were in Ragnarok. He shows up in this. He's a tour guide.
He's the tour guide at the Hammer.
Yep.
That's great. I didn't catch that.
I caught that at the second watch too.
Ben?
No, I was gonna say, aside from Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Jane Foster is my favorite part of the movie. I absolutely love how she's still fighting, and also one of the scenes I actually kind of like. I don't know why, but you see Thor and Jane eventually drift apart during like the Age of Ultron, after Thor: The Dark World, pre-Age of Ultron. When they're in their relationship, they're like super happy, and then they just slowly but surely just start drifting apart.
Because it's a well shot scene. That's why we like it, man.
Also, I really like that scene, but every time when I love the complete 180 it goes from Jane when she's ridden with cancer to her as Mighty Thor. I just love how the way the makeup is, like the sullen eyes, her hair is like you know, darker, and she's like very sickly, but then she picks up the hammer. Her hair is a little brighter. It's blonder a little bit, and she's like, "Let's go, ready to fight."
She also gained 6 inches from. She's not 6 foot tall.
I really love Natalie Portman in this, and one of the things I really adore about it is that Taika knew to bring back. Jane is very easily, especially if you haven't watched the movies and the original Thor films in a while, or the What If episode, I think did this very well. It's easy to forget that she wasn't just the girl in the movie. They actually made her a huge dork. She's just a massive dork, and it's not as clear in Dark World, but it's definitely there in Thor. And it comes back here where she's got like things in the montage show how dorky she is. That she's just very kooky. She's very silly. She likes weird little things, and the fact that energy was recaptured not just in like the Thor and Jane montage of how they were before the dumping, but also in like bits where she's like, I know everybody thinks that I'm like this cool astrophysicist who's got everything figured out. It's like, Jane, you're such a huge dork.
And when she talks about like at the hospital, it's like, I wrote that.
Yeah,
it needs a 3D model, and this.
I'm so glad because like she really excels in the films when she's allowed to be a dork.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, like you ruined your own book.
Yeah, but now you understand.
Yeah,
Einstein Rosenbridge.
Omnipotent City. That is something from the Jason Aaron run, although the Godhead is something that has existed in Marvel for a while. They just did something different with it. It was very cool to see the dumpling god or whatever.
Bow. God of dumplings.
God of dumplings. Love it.
I think the Cronin god looks really cool too. He's on a throne of scissors.
Oh my god, the scissors joke is so good. He's on a throne of scissors because Rock beats us. It's so good. I love it. It's dumb.
There's so many good.
That's why. Oh my god! I just
oh man, I'm so happy you're here for this.
God damn it!
There you go. Rock beats us. Yeah.
God damn, because Fanny and I were on the car ride home after the movie last night. We were talking about how that was a cool throne, but we couldn't figure out why it was made of scissors. God damn it!
You see a Mayan god and Aztec god. You see Bast, even though not as forefront as I assumed, given like the marketing of it all. But so many different gods. You got like a cool samurai looking god, like
a dragon,
dragon,
couple dragons actually.
What's really nice is how vibrant this movie is, especially in Omnipotent City. Like the Omnipotent City scene is one of the most. I won't say it's one of the most colorful, but vibrant. Vibrant's a good word. Vibrant's a great word for this. One of the most vibrant scenes in the MCU is Omnipotent City. It constantly looks like a busy location with thousands of people.
What if the prequel Senate scenes look great?
Pretty much, and the god seats were filled. Like there are few empty seats.
Raw was there.
Ra was there, and so there's tons of gods there, and they're all unique and different. And they all have different dress, and some of them are bigger, and some of them are not.
The Celestials have to peek in because they're too big.
The Celestials.
Can I get a seat?
It's great.
Yes, I agree with it completely. Like one of the reasons this film succeeds is because of it. I think it is arguably the most, if not one of the most vibrant of the MCU, maybe only in competition, honestly, with Guardians 2.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is true throughout the entire film. Even when they go to the Shadow Realm, that is still a choice of how vibrancy is going to work in the film, and the way that they do the shadows, the way they do the black and white, the way they do where color does get to shine through, thanks to the weapons.
The same way he shot the Valkyrie flashback, the very short Valkyrie flashback, was how he shot the Shadow Realms fight sequence.
That's cool.
So a lot of the same colors are like really shining.
Yeah.
Like black and whites.
Yeah. Really good.
That Shadow Realm scene is quite good.
Yeah.
And I know Sparks was there with me. Like we assumed that was the final act.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got there, I'm like, oh, is this movie already over? Is this movie this short? What?
And I was like, no, it definitely isn't. Like this is not the third act, baby. There's more.
Yeah. Real quick, back to Omnipotent City. Russell Crowe as Zeus. What a delight. What a jerk off. Just perfect Zeus. This is multiple superhero orgies happening on the Fake Nerds Watch, because we got Hero Gasm and now we got Omnipotent Cities. You are not invited to the orgy.
I honestly can't imagine I've heard the word orgy in an MCU movie.
And you hear it multiple times in this one, baby.
Yep, you hear it multiple times.
I do really like the who else is in disguise? I flick you too. No, we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
We're here.
So good.
Russell Crowe, like, you know, like when he's at Zeus, he puts on this big air, but then when he gets super close to Thor, he's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I am afraid, I'm scared, but we're safe here, so we're just gonna stay and we're not gonna do anything about it.
Bad gods. That's why all gods need to suffer. I get it, Gore.
I'm actually also kind of glad that using the Thunderbolt didn't kill Zeus, because I was like, wow, I thought the Necrosword was the only thing that could kill gods, and then, of course,
I am too.
and then they're like saying it's like, hey, you killed Zeus. I'm like, hold the fudge up, what? And then later you see him, they're like helping his wound, and he's like, okay, cool, he's not dead.
I also agree. I'm glad that he didn't die, and like that was the whole.
Because what's the point again?
but again, Ben, gods can be killed without the Necrosword. It's definitely happened, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just have to.
Frigga got stabbed right here.
That's true, she did.
Heimdall got stabbed right here.
Heimdall got
Loki
stabbed right here.
choked right here.
Loki got choked out.
Fendrel and Volstagg both got stabbed somewhere around here.
Odin just kind of whisked away.
Yeah.
I will say, again, like it doesn't. I think this movie is pretty simple and not in a bad way. Like I enjoyed everything about it. Like the Thunderbolt being like, we need to get the Thunderbolt. That is the weapon we're going to use. They don't really tell you why. It's kind of like we just need to get a strong, powerful weapon.
Well, Valkyrie just says like, okay,
we need something
we're clearly not going to get an army, so they're not going to help us. But that Thunderbolt, that might help us because Valkyrie doesn't have a comparable weapon to fight the Necrosword with.
That's true.
And so Valkyrie takes Thunderbolt.
I would have liked a little more of like, wow, only Zeus's weapon can be this powerful to combat the Necrosword. Something instead of just like, we got to get the thing.
Sure.
But like again, it's not a big deal.
I can't wait for the controversy that this is going to stir up. I think Korg should have died.
I don't mind it. I'm not. I saw the trajectory of like that would have been a good emotional. Like it's been pretty funny, and then like something bad happens. I wouldn't have minded it, but like I'm glad he's alive too. You know.
I just feel. This is where the Taika Waititi works 97% of the time for me. Like this was an emotional moment, and I had the same issue with Thor Ragnarok when Asgard has exploded and Korg just goes, well, no, the foundation's gone.
Yeah.
Like I wish we had sat in the Asgard explosion moment. I still have that kind of issue, but like it's immediately undercut by a comedic moment, and I just feel like I would have preferred, because I don't think Korg really adds anything to the rest of the movie outside of just Taika Waititi being able to be in the movie a bit more.
Well,
he sings his love song.
He does connect with Valkyrie about like, again, this is where you get some of the Valkyrie exploration in the film, which is her talking about like what she's lost
and the two dads
and how she feels, and that's also Korg talking about like how they make babies, and you need them doing that. A, to explore Valkyrie more, but B, also so that Jane and Thor can have their conversation where Thor learns she has cancer.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I said, I love this movie. That was just kind of the emotional moment where I just kind of wish we had kept, because like it would have been sad. It would have been a good emotional punch.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I think that I'm cool with Korg not dying because Thor already loses Jane at the end of the film, and like Thor loses people all the goddamn time, and I didn't need him to lose Korg too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of shocked that I thought Korg was dead, and then when he's just a head or a face for the rest of the movie, I enjoyed it.
I liked him tied on the back of her head.
No, he had a mustache.
I like him being carried by the goats.
That was fun. I thought that was good too.
And when he finally whistles them to get the right note to bring him back, to bring him to him, that was really cool.
I really like those goats, guys.
What I will say, and I thought this the first time, and I definitely thought it more the second time, is that I wish Korg was not the person doing the sum up story. Let me tell you the story of the legendary space Viking, the mighty Thor, at the very end of the film. I wish that wasn't Korg. I wish instead it was Axel Heimdallson. And the reason I wish that is because Axel is established to be a fan of Guns N' Roses, and if you recontextualize the film as his version of telling this story, the Guns N' Roses needle drops make more sense.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
And I will say, like, I like the Guns N' Roses needle drops. None of them particularly bother me. A few of them I'm like, this could have been more interwoven, because they're all Guns N' Roses songs, all of them.
Except the very end, that's Rainbow in the Dark by Dio, but that's not either here or there. But
Are you talking about the
credits? It's the credits.
Yeah, not that. I'm talking before the narrative story has ended.
You're right. But
Ben's like, I'm about to drop some knowledge.
No, sorry. I apologize. That came off really pretentious. I love the Guns N' Roses needle drops. I unapologetically love it. Actually, one of the things I love about this, I tweeted it last night. I love the soundtrack. The 80s metal guitar riff for the Marvel's opening sentence, like the Marvel Studios logo. I freaking love that.
And it's that theme, but with a metal guitar. That was awesome.
I unapologetically love it. I love, like, the second I heard "Welcome to the Jungle" in the opening fight scene, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love this movie. And then when November, when they're playing the most metal part of November Rain after he gives all the kids Thor powers, I'm like, oh, F yeah.
I do love November Rain. I think that is my favorite.
I think November Rain's the best of all.
Yeah.
As far as like how it's interwoven, and Welcome to the Jungle is pretty well done. It's really Sweet Child of Mine is good. The music for the entrance of the goats into Omnipotent City, but I feel like we cut from it jarringly and too quickly.
Yeah, it's not as narratively cohesive with it.
Yeah.
I remember though when we were talking about the trailers, and I asked, do we think Sweet Child of Mine means anything to this movie? Do you think children are involved in any way? And I this is not me predicting anything, but like, oh, there was something there. It is about him having a kid. I'm like, oh, look at that.
And also just about children.
Just about children. Man, Thor kids rule. What a fun like kids afternoon ending to this movie. That was all the kids get powers. I thought that was great.
That was one of my favorite things because you took the children hostages and then made them more than just like it would have been easy to just like we get to them and then they're gone and then we do the deal with the villain, but like they actually made it matter.
Sorry.
Go ahead if you want to talk about the children, because I want to revert back to the score.
Yeah, it's about the children. It's like when the girl with the teddy bear, like when they're all presenting their arms, they're presenting the things, and she brings her little teddy stuffed rabbit, and she's using it to shoot lightning out of its eyes. I thought was the funniest shit. And even the little girl who's in the princess outfit, she has her little wand, and she taps a shadow monster and it splits in half.
Yeah. I also really like how the children, how the shadow monster, like the shadow cage, like disappears with the children. It's a really good shot. I want to real quickly talk about Giacchino's score, just briefly, because I really like Giacchino's score. I like Giacchino in general, but the score for this one is really good. I, however, do wish that he used more of the motifs from the original 3 films. Like, wasn't Ludwig Göransson who did Thor Ragnarok, I believe?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. The Ragnarok, some of the Ragnarok music is there, but there's nothing from Thor or Thor: The Dark World.
Right, but Thor Ragnarok does, and I wish that we had kept more of that, because I actually think Thor: The Dark World is one of the best soundtracks in the MCU.
Sure.
Mark Motherbog.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Well, he uses various themes from Thor and Thor: The Dark World, and I wish that trend had continued.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Giacchino likes to reuse scores, so it's surprising that those don't really make it into the mix.
Jane's metal theme is pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the movie it sounds good, but if you listen to it on its own, because like the movie can kind of like just so many other elements. If you listen to it on its own, it rocks hard.
If I'm being slightly critical about like leaving out the Thor theme, a lot of the Thor theme is tied to the sense of Asgard. And Asgard doesn't exist the same. So I think leaving that theme behind is not necessarily the wrong choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I guess so, because Thor Ragnarok does recontextualize it with, this is Asgard.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Brian Tyler score for Thor: The Dark World would have been cool, because he uses that one in Age of Ultron also. Anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about the music. I like the music overall.
I love the way that Jane becomes Mighty Thor, like the love incantation of like always take care of Jane, like in his drunken like love stupor of like I love her, I love you, Mjolnir, make sure she's happy all the time.
Put a charm on Mjolnir just like Odin did.
Yeah. I thought that was a great way of doing it. Honestly, I think I might like it more than the comics itself. Actually, the way they did it.
I won't say that. I do. I'm not as hot on the change. I think it works for the movie. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it works for the movie, and it's fine. I do prefer the Hammer chose Jane, that thing, because like I think that's really important to Jane's story, that she is worthy of the hammer in the comic.
Yeah.
For the movie of it, making it so that because the movie is a love story, like it's a rom-com essentially, and it's a love story, so that makes it make more sense contextually with the movie. But I won't say I like it more than the comic, and I understand people who have an issue with it, who like that comic. I totally get that.
What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
No, the scene where Thor and Jane are in the hospital, or in the infirmary, really, and then Thor finally straight up tells her, like, dude, I've loved you ever since I met you. I don't want you to get hurt. And I love how he really truly cares about her. And just like, yo, I want, like, you keep wielding this hammer, but it's killing you quicker. I mean, yes, you feel better, but it's killing you. There's a recreation of, actually, there's a few recreations of scenes from the comics, which was the Jane in the hospital bed with Mjolnir next to her, being like, hey, let's go. And the way Thor looks at Jane when she shows up as the mighty Thor is very similar to how it happens in the comic too, because like Thor knows, like, you've just killed yourself.
And that is what, again, like the message in movie I really like, and like Jane knows this is the end, but she's okay with it. Like living your life to the fullest, no matter the consequences, is something that Thor has not been doing. He hasn't been living his life. He's been pushing everything away, so nothing of consequence can happen to him. And Jane's like, sorry, but I'm making you face this directly. I am dying in front of you, and you have to live with that decision that I made. That is so important to Thor's character, and it's so well acted, especially that final scene in Eternity, between both Gore and the daughter and Thor and Jane. Like, I think it's just so beautifully shot.
That Thor and Jane, the Jane death scene is one of my favorites. I really like how they contextualize that, and the way that they bring, like, it's the final fight doesn't end with anyone winning.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Thor's just like, you won. Now I'm gonna spend the rest of whatever time I have left before you make that wish. I'm gonna spend it with Jane.
Yeah. Why would I spend my last moments with you when I can be with her?
Yeah.
Which is the thing that like opens Gore up, and I think that works. Like, some people, they felt it was too fast, but like him coming away from the Necrosword infection and then seeing Thor choose Jane and choose love, which he was choosing love against Thor earlier in the film.
Yeah.
And now it's him doing it, and he realizes that is the path.
And like that, he has like a realization moment, because again, like, he is away from the Necrosword, which has been infecting him with this idea. So like all of this happening at once, he's like overwhelmed with emotion at one point. He's like, oh my God, what have I been doing? It's like a Dr. Octopus Spider-Man 2 moment of like, you're like, I can't believe I've done all of this, and like, I've been such an idiot. Oh my God, you're so right, my guy. Love is great, and he does choose to spend his final moments with his daughter, and that's such a good moment again of like she won't have me for very long. Yeah, but she'll still have you.
Yeah,
that is such a great moment.
I really like how they recontextualize the Necrosword as an infection, because that's not necessarily the case in the comic either. The Necrosword, like, I really like how it's visualized to disappear from its previous owner, to coming up a sort of like Excalibur into Gore's hand. I think that's all really well visualized.
I also like the shadows that work with it. Like,
before that though, because I also like that, but I want to just say that, like, the kind of simplification of the Necrosword works really well for this film, to kind of like see in his like deformation into almost, not really the version of him in the comics, but like he is becoming less and less human as the Necrosword infects him. I think is all really well visualized. But yes, Ben, as you were saying, I like the shadow monsters also.
I will say the shadow monsters are cool. There is a lot of like dark knights fighting dark monsters, and I'm not going to say it always looks incredible. Like the first Thor Jane meetup in the village at night, I'm not going to say that looks great all the time. Some of the monsters are just like, wow, you're definitely shadows on shadows, which again, like, it could be way worse. But like, it doesn't always look great. I still think like this is a very vibrant movie. I think Ragnarok looks better than this movie does. I think there's more volume happening, more last minute special effects happening in this movie, where it is more colorful for sure, but like, I don't think it looks as good as a Ragnarok does.
Sparks, were you going to say something?
I was gonna say that I thought a shadow creature looked particularly well when Mjolnir comes bursting through it from the backside to come to Thor, which I thought was a good bit.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
also going to lead into me talking about the giving the weapons personality.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Just really good comedic beats with that.
That's one of my favorite things that he brought in from the comics. We talked about like Mjolnir doesn't work the same way in the comics as it does in the MCU. The fact that Jane gets a look, like gets a physical transformation, is different than what happened with Captain America when he wielded the hammer.
Yeah.
But Captain America could still wield like the thunder and whatnot. So like, so we talked about like the differences there. And one of the biggest differences is that in the comics, Mjolnir is alive. Like Mjolnir has something inside of her that makes her alive, and it's really great that they brought that back to this back into the MCU, that Mjolnir is actually a living thing.
And Stormbreaker is like a jealous boyfriend.
I love that. I love my favorite thing, which I think is actually a practical effect, which I love because it would be so simple to do. All you have to do is like stand behind the camera. But like is when Thor is talking to Mjolnir, and like he like makes sure he can still lift it.
Mm-hmm.
He can still lift it, and then and then Jane walks away with it, and then Stormbreaker just like slowly into frame. It's like I was just.
It's that shot and the one where they're in like the room where they're trying to calm down the parents, and he's trying to call Mjolnir, and then Stormbreaker comes around from behind him, and he's like, "Hey, buddy,
there you are."
Just calling you.
Yeah, that was pretty good too. I like that Thor keeps having to be like, "I am worthy, right? Yes, okay."
Mm-hmm. Just
cool.
checking.
I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of really good stuff with the hammers. He's like, "You want your first beer, buddy? Here you go."
Oh my god, he just pours it on it.
And then of course, like the colors get a little brighter on the Rainbow Bridge, or the Bifrost.
That is such a cool effect, riding along the Rainbow Bridge.
That is. A costume design. I love Thor's armor in this movie,
especially when he takes off the helmet. I don't like the helmet.
Yeah, I thought the helmet was a little too over the top, but his regular breastplate that he wears through I want to say 90% of the film, I really like. I like the color scheme of it. Of course, Jane looks amazing in her armor.
Yeah, she does.
Pretty much that's all I really got. I love this movie.
I'm really glad we got the Jane and Thor montage. I think it does a lot to help.
Oh yeah,
help make all of it work together.
Because
and it's good because it's both comical and touching.
Yeah, I think you need that because they have chemistry in that first movie, and I guess that second movie. But like, I would need more to make them be like, oh, she's the one that got away. So like having that
means escape.
Yes, it means escape. Having that montage of it being like over a period of who knows how long, and seeing seeing the beginning to the end, like, was really helpful to make me believe in that level.
Sure. I really like the parallel shots of the pinky holding from the montage, and then in going into the Shadow Realm.
Yeah. Hot Dog Thor.
I really liked all the vines when they're in Gore's tent.
Yeah, how
that's visualized and how that comes together. I think that's all really good.
Man, I was expecting another Stranger Things where they disappear for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they disappear and then whoop, we're back.
Hey, what's up?
What was I gonna say?
I got something if you want to quickly remember.
I was just gonna mention how in the montage scene, like when they're watching a scary movie, Jane screams, Thor grabs Mjolnir, is like,
the Mjolnir pieces that Jane can like throw the pieces is such a cool idea.
That is.
I am in love with that. Just that idea of just all those pieces go flying out.
I agree 100%. The play. We didn't talk about the play.
The play. Yes.
That is I was going to bring that up next though. I'm so glad they brought that back.
I completely forgot we talked about Melissa McCarthy playing Hela.
That's right.
Until it happened, and I was like, "Oh yeah, oh right."
Matt Damon and Luke Hemsworth are actually Asgardians, as revealed in this movie. They are not just Matt Damon and Luke Hemsworth.
The play is funny. I like it even after, where they're trying to capitalize on a disaster,
on the tragedy.
Like,
do you think they need it now? I didn't hear a no. Neither did I. Okay,
We
Asgard,
opened.
late at night.
Just like the worst type of capitalist, theater capitalist. Yeah, so glad they're showing up in Old Spice commercials now as well. I saw Luke Hemsworth ask Thor, like,
Yes.
it's me, the real Thor, doing
Yes.
Old Spice.
Yes.
I'm like,
That's right. I was wondering why. I was like, why is this guy who is this guy? Because I've seen those commercials online.
Sam Neill's death as Odin. Just the, oh, there I go into god dust. It's,
And then he crawls off stage.
Yeah, the Jane's death. It reminded me. I really like how now we know that's not just how gods die. That's how gods go to Valhalla, because Jane turns into god dust.
That does appear actually to just be how gods die, though, because we see
the big one, the big monster.
The big one is doing that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
When he gets to it, and Sif is there.
Oh, you're right, and the other god dies like that too. So Jane's a god. Yeah. So I take that back. Jane is as far as Valhalla is concerned, Jane is a god.
Jamie Alexander's Lady Sif appearance is fun. I'm glad that she came back for it. They make the joke about her arm probably being in Valhalla, and Ryan and I were both very confident that her arm was going to show up in that Valhalla scene.
That would have been good. It would turn a great credit scene to a better one.
There's no way Taika Waititi didn't think of it and just probably thought it didn't work.
Yeah.
I really like seeing Valhalla in the last thing. Mythologically speaking, it makes more sense that Odin would greet her, but you can't get Anthony Hopkins back for this. So I really like that it was Heimdall.
I think even just the context of the film, it works better that it's Heimdall, because she had a more friendly relationship with Heimdall in Dark World, and you had his son's presence. I just like getting Idris Elba back. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, I was happy they did it. I was really happy to see that. Back.
And it's nice because it's not exactly how it works in the comics, but like if there was if Natalie Portman did want to come back and they want to bring her back, there is a way they can make her the new Valkyrie.
Yeah.
So like it is incredibly nice that she could have just stayed dead, like this, like not in Valhalla, but like the avenue is there for potential.
And it's nice that because like, that's also from the comics, like she belongs there. She died a warrior. She belongs in Valhalla because that's her eternal peace in the Viking afterlife. Because she died as a warrior.
Her eternal reward, where you get Gore, and Gore's like, "Where's my eternal reward?" And his guy is like, "There is none, bitch."
There was a mention in Omnipotent City of the god of carpentry. I'm just assuming Jesus Christ was hanging out there in some wine. Just assuming. I have to assume it.
You brought up Sif, Sparks, and I wanted to get my thought about Valhalla before I brought up Sif, but like, I'm glad she came back. I guess probably my own expectations was hoping for more. She does disappear very quickly into the movie and only shows up again at the end. I would have liked to have seen more because, like, I still lament that we didn't get more with the Warriors 3 before they were killed the way they were in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Like,
and I think that's fair. And like, I hear you. I feel like there probably was some more of her that got cut.
Yeah.
And honestly, like in relation to the other things that I feel like got cut that I would have rather seen, that's like probably makes sense. Probably wasn't really adding much to the movie as it was.
Sure.
I desperately have to use the bathroom, so I'm gonna say this real quick, and then I'm just gonna run real quick. Hercules showing up, cool. Love Hercules. Looks the part. You have read the Guardians run where all the Greek gods come back and they become evil. So there's a cool trajectory of Thor, the Norse gods versus the Greek gods. Like that could be a cool next movie. I doubt that's what the next movie is, but like setting that stuff up, I think is really fun. I love gods v gods. I love big buff Hercules showing up. Big buff Bible. I love it.
Well, I also like the context of what he's doing that through is where Zeus is saying, like, we used to be respected, now we're a joke because they idolize the superheroes that have taken our spot in the limelight, which I thought was a nice like mythology commentary thing that they were able to do, and Thor being at the forefront of it.
I really like the inclusion of Hercules. The best part about this movie, not the best part, that was a stupid joke, but the fact that at the end of it says Thor will return, because there's been a lot of talk about like Chris Evans was like, if their script is right, it might not come back, but and he's like, I want to leave when they're going to miss me, not when they want me to leave. And rightfully so. But like, I would happily see another Thor movie with or without Hercules.
Yeah, I was surprised they did that because I don't think anything in the new phase has, right? We haven't gotten the Will returns.
10 Rings. 10 Rings will return was at the end of Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah.
What was the end of the Eternals?
Nothing.
I don't remember. I mean, Ben's going to look it up. I got to drink something. Somebody say something.
No, again, like I go entirely all back to, I just wanted more of these things. I just wanted more time with these things. I thoroughly enjoyed what I was given, though. Like, all of it really worked for me. I thought the main part of the story was correct. You did all the things you had to do, and you did them well. And like, yeah, I could have had room for like more to be expanded on, but I just had such a good time. I had a good time both times. I really like it. I like it so much.
Taika Waititi doesn't often say things I disagree with. He did say something I disagree with, and he says he hates director's cuts. He thinks directors need to be edited for a reason. So he said there's no director's cut for this movie coming out, which bums me out hardcore.
Yeah.
I think director's cuts are important because sometimes studios don't know the difference between art and just cash grab money stuff.
The MCU, it would be weird if the MCU came out with a director's cut at this point because they never have. It's already strange that Spider-Man No Way Home is doing it. Or an extended cut, whatever. That's probably not a director's cut.
Yeah, this is just the first MCU movie where I feel like I really want it.
I get that. I would be very happy if they finally put some decent deleted scenes in their movies on their Blu-rays, because I would happily see a lot of these that way too.
Because this is one of the first cases where we know a lot of stuff got cut. Like, there is so much. There's an entire other movies where there's a Snyder Cut's worth of movie that got cut out. And
maybe all of it didn't need to be there, but I'm sure some of it would have boosted some of the things we already loved.
There is an entire subplot with Lena Headey where she got paid $1.5 million, and we're just never gonna see what that was about. And I'm just like, I would love to see what that's about, just a little bit.
I want deleted scenes. I hope they actually do that.
We really touched on Thor's a dad now.
Love at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, the Love and Thunder reveal.
Love and Thunder.
Oh, that's such a good reveal. I love it.
That was cute. I love that. I love the direction that scene went. That Thor now has Mjolnir again. Although, yeah, I like it. Like, it's a little like it was a little weird. It was a little weird when like it's very much implied that the hammer is like destroyed permanently because the Necrosword pieces that it absorbed.
For sure.
And then like at the end, the hammer's just fine. I'm like, I'm rolling with it. Like, it doesn't matter. But I do like the whole like father-daughter banter between the two. Like, oh, they're pancakes. You like pancakes? I don't like pancakes. I've never had pancakes before.
Pan flaps.
Pan flaps. Right.
Then she like laser eyes and he's like,
this was a new pot.
It's fun that this is like not just a brand new character that the MCU can like have fun with in the future, but like this is such an easy way to keep Chris Hemsworth in the MCU because he gets to hang out with his daughter most of the time.
Which is one of the things he's been saying, like when he has considered stepping away from acting, is to spend more time with his family.
All of the actors' kids showed up in this movie. Natalie Portman's kids showed up in this movie. Taika Waititi's kids, Christian Bale's, like they all have small parts in this movie, so it's really cool.
Do you know Chris Hemsworth's wife was in this too?
Yeah, she's the wolf lady.
She's the wolf lady on the back of the female wolf.
Really?
Yes.
At the very beginning, he makes out the lady on the back of a wolf.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Yeah, because like they filmed in Australia, so like Natalie Portman and like she brought her kids to Australia, and like their kids went to school together, so like family was a big part of like making this movie too, and I'm like that is really cool that you can do that.
I think both of doesn't what's his name? Chris Hemsworth have two Daryl the tour guide. Two kids.
His son was the little tiny Thor running in the montage at the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I remember.
Oh, that's cool.
All the kids get a college fund.
Tristan Hemsworth. Yeah, I'm trying to find the actor who played Love, like the full name.
Her name's India Rose.
India Rose
Hemsworth.
Yeah, very cool. I think that's he was in this. Sorry. I think that this it's a great movie. Do we want to rate it? I think we're done.
Yeah, I will give
Maybe
it.
more.
I will give it a solid 8. It's not a bad score. I think it's a good movie. If it fleshed out a lot of the stuff I really loved, I'd probably give it a higher score. But I don't think 8's anything to run home about.
Not at all. Sparks or Ben?
I will give it a 9 just because I want more of it. I practically would give it a 10 though. Let's be honest, it's in my top 5 of the MCU.
Wow, top 5. Interesting.
Nice.
Ben?
I was hovering around 8, but then the more we talked about it, it jumped up. So I'll say 8.5. I still love this movie. I think I like Ragnarok just a little bit more, but on a whole, absolutely love what this movie's going for. I love the score. I love the music. Even the end credits roll where it's all different metal or like band logos just redone so it's the characters' names or the people who worked on this movie. It's a little stuff like that. I thoroughly enjoyed. I had a blast. If I see this movie again, I'm probably gonna jump up my score. But as of right now, it's an 8.5.
Love it.
This isn't my top 5 MCU. I think I would probably put it under Ragnarok personally, but like it's hovering around an 8.5 or a 9. I don't think I can pick. You know what? I'll round up. It's a 9.
I'm gonna go up. It's a 9.5.
Oh, I'll go up.
I'm gonna go down. It's a 7.
It's only criticism is absence of more things.
Yeah.
Shall we book club then?
Yeah, Puddin'.
Okay.
I said Puddin' because it's Harley Quinn.
All right, Sparks. Puddin'.
Hey,
Take
we're
it away.
we're talking about Harley Quinn, the animated series, Eat, Bang, Kill Tour, Journey to Love. It's the comic. It takes place between season 2 and 3. If you haven't watched the Harley Quinn show, you're probably not going to want to hear some of the things that we have to say. So
does the comic.
Because spoilers for the Harley Quinn show.
I'll be right back. I gotta go use the restroom.
Okay. But yeah, spoilers for the Harley Quinn show because this would ruin the end of season 2. So we're going to be talking about some stuff. So know that going in. This is written by T. Franklin. The whole thing's written by T. Franklin with art by Max Sarin on most of the issues, and then Eric Owen on a couple of pages here and there. I really, really like it. This is all about picking up right where season 2 left off and following Harley and Ivy as they are leaving Ivy's failed wedding with Kite Man, and Gordon is on their ass chasing them, and Harley just wants to give Ivy a perfect trip to take her mind off of it. And I thought this was super charming and super in tone of the show, and I really enjoyed it. I think the art's fantastic. What did you guys think?
It felt like I was reading a Harley Quinn movie, if that makes any sense. Like a Harley Quinn animated show movie or multi-episode special, because I felt like there was an entire 3-act structure to this. Like everything that happened, I felt happened for a reason, and I really enjoyed this. This definitely got me jonesing for more Harley Quinn. I mean, we know Harley Quinn season 3 is coming. I'm glad this is here, and I am really looking forward to that 3rd season all the more now.
Yeah, same. Yeah. The thing going into this was, will this have the voices from the show? And thankfully it does. When I was reading this, I was like, all right, this sounds like the Harley from the show. This sounds like the Ivy from the show. This feels like the dumb, silly Gordon from the show. I think the comedy mostly really works. I love the art as well. I think the art is extremely expressive and like a good reflection of what the show looks like too, but in comic form. Yeah, I had a really good time. I don't remember, is Livewire, has she been in the show yet, or is this just for the comic?
We did see Livewire.
We did see Livewire? Okay, I just don't remember. Seeing all the other bad characters show up, like, I'm a big fan of Catwoman, and like I love this version of Catwoman. It's so funny. When they said we're going to Selena's, for some reason in my mind I said Salinas, which is the city, which is city up here. So I was like, oh yeah, they're coming to Northern California. That's so funny. And I'm like, oh wait, Salinas. Yeah, this is a hoot and a holler.
I love when she answers the door. She's in her PJs and she's like, "Oh hell no!"
You called her before. You told her I was coming here, right?
Just start texting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon, thoughts on this? We're just kind of giving first thoughts.
Oh shit! No, I'm kidding. I really like this. I really like the Harley Quinn TV show. We talked about it when the show was out. Just this is the energy I want from Harley Quinn, like all the time. This is the kind of story I want DC to be constantly doing with Harley Quinn.
Mhm.
And I was really happy to read this because, like, even if I don't think the comic is the same type of quality as the show, I do think there's a dip in kind of like writing quality there, but like not a significant one to impede the enjoyment. This is the kind of thing that I want from DC Comics with Harley Quinn. Always.
I think for the show coming from a writer's room and this being a singular author, I think this does a pretty good job of capturing these characters.
Yeah, I think so too.
And this world, I think they interpret them very well. We get the debut of Vixen in this world, and the debut of Nightwing and his big glorious booty.
I love every joke about Nightwing's ass in this movie, in this book.
This made me laugh a bunch. But early on, Ivy like makes a bridge for them to drive over, and then she retracts the bridge, and Gordon starts falling, and he says, "All I wanted was the key to the city." And I'm like, "Oh, that makes me laugh." That's from the show. I feel it. I'm in this comic.
Gordon's obsession with getting Harley and Ivy is so well done in this, and like everyone, like Batman and Nightwing and Batgirl, they're all just like, Gordon, stop. It's like, maybe I'm not a good damn cop.
A damn good cop. Yeah, Batman's like, this is not what a damn good cop does, Gordon. Like, they have to keep phrasing it that way. I love it.
I really like. I think this is good. It's good emotional beats that like I hope will carry over in the show. That, you know, this is something like if you get to the season and you're like, I don't feel like Ivy's dealing enough with like the Kite Man wedding fallout stuff, and I'm like, well, that's because there was a comic book that really did it. But I like her feeling like Harley's misinterpreting a lot of Ivy's reactions to what's going on, but it's also Ivy like taking out that aggression on Harley. And I really like when Harley can't take it anymore and says, you know, like, I could have stayed with the Joker if I wanted to keep having a daily put down. And like also like one of my favorite pages, because it's the one where Ivy then sinks into the tub. And I just didn't expect, like, I like the art in this, I just didn't expect panels like that.
Can I just say that was really funny, because of the green screen, all of Ivy was just gone from that screen. But I really like moments like that. I think that they execute them very well, like what their relationship dynamic is, and it is true to these characters as they were on the show.
I was surprised because I didn't know like how,
and they're horny as hell.
Oh yeah, I expected, because I follow the writer on Twitter, so I knew it was going to be a horny ass comic, but I didn't realize like it would go the emotional depth that like sometimes the show does go. And like the moments between, like, it's mostly Ivy having like the breakdowns, but like her constantly being like, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I don't know if this was a good idea, and like it challenges her.
I love the idea that because she went to Harley's head in season 2, Harleen is now in hers.
Yes,
I thought that was really great.
Yeah, and it confused me at first because I didn't remember, and then it's like, hey, remember I was in your head already. I don't want to do it again. Like, oh yeah, it's all happened. Yeah.
I really like how they visualize a lot of the early romance of the two. The way Harley would just like hide in covers, I think it's a very real feeling when like the person you love more than anything has finally admitted to loving you back. And like Harley is just constantly like, there's all these like panels where she's just looking at Ivy with like heart eyes and just can't, like, so stunned and can't speak. I think that's all well done.
Yeah, the thing that the comics can do, I mean, animated shows, like animated stuff can do it too, but like the thing that I love about comics is like when somebody's mad, they'll have like they'll have skulls around their head, so you know, like when Poison Ivy runs off, she's got skulls around her because like she's so pissed, or they have the hard stuff.
I love that kind of visualization that they do with the hearts, with the skulls, that kind of thing. I really love moments like this one where they've got the hand taken away and it's heartbreaking, and the way they visualize that just really works for an adaptation of that show into this comic format. I think it translates really well. There's this panel which I could not believe happened, which is the one where Vixen's in the back seat with her girl.
Oh yeah,
and she's activating giraffe power for that long tongue. And I was like,
that's good shit.
Yo.
There's a lot of, like, when I say I want this to be the direction of Harley Quinn, I don't necessarily mean that DC should always make Harley Quinn this horny, but it is quite fun that everyone in this comic is very ready to bone everyone else. Like Vixen's girlfriend is very much like, hey, when you're back, why don't you join us for a night?
Uh-huh.
You know, she definitely wants that foursome with Ivy and Harley.
I love going to Selena's because they have to drop off Lou and Abe. But Selena's got a bunch of cats, so the Yetis are trying to eat the cats. Obviously Ivy is going through some shit, and Selena can recognize it, but she doesn't really care. She's like, honey, don't mistake this for caring. I just want the tea. I just want the drama. And like, it's so juicy.
The bit where Harley's like, so Batman doesn't bang bats, and then Selena's like, he's not really a fan of cats either. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry.
They bring back the Cobb Squad. I remember Harley calls them the Cobb Squad. I'm like, oh yeah.
Cheryl.
Yeah.
Damn it, Cheryl.
Damn it, Cheryl. Yeah.
Damn it, Cheryl.
So real quickly, Princess Sparkle Bunny's in the chat,
Yes,
which is a great time to pop in. Wow, I showed up to the party at a weird time.
It's the end of the show, but I appreciate you being here.
We're talking about a horny Harley Quinn comic.
There's a great little thing of, oh my god, there's a bunch of CEOs here. Should we go kill all of them?
Yes.
And then they do, and then one gets away, and there's like a whole subplot about that. But like the scene of Poison Ivy like murdering all these fools through their food is like really scary. And I'm like, oh my god, like this comic can be so many different things.
Yeah, I really like how it dives into Pamela's psyche, because when you go straight from Harley Quinn season 2 into this comic and then eventually into season 3, she's constantly regretting everything that happened in season 2. Like, she's constantly going back to how bad she treated Kite Man. She even admits in a monologue how she still truly loves Kite Man, but she also truly loves Harley as well.
Well, no, she doesn't say truly. She doesn't say truly. Importantly, she says, "I did love Kite Man," but it's not the same feeling as no, it's not with Harley. It's a much stronger love with Harley.
Oh yeah, Frank comes back, the talking plant
in Ivy's mind. Yeah,
the villain Mephitic, who is just like, he wants to be your favorite poisonous villain. Like, what a dumb! I love it. He's like, when he makes his appearance, he's like, "Until next time, Detroit. Back to you, Janice." And she's like, thanks, monster." Like,
and then very much Harley Quinn show humor. You get to the end and it's like, wait, you really were just that thing because you don't wash your ass?
Yeah, he's just a smelly dude. Smelly man.
I really like the Tawny subplot, that Tawny has like her kids looking out for them, and helping them out. I thought that was really nice, and like catching Gordon in the embarrassment to get Gordon off their back.
Oh yeah, the scene with Nightwing too is like, don't worry, ladies, I'm not actually here for you. I'm here for Gordon because Batman cares.
Right.
I'm like, oh, Batman does care. Like, that's good shit.
I thought all that was really, really nice.
Just the scene where Dick is putting up his pants, and it's just the two gluttonous cheeks.
Oh yeah, the glorious buttocks
sticking out. Tush wing.
Yeah, and I like the way that they're playing with the format. So like Harley, who would acknowledge things in the show, now acknowledges in the comic, like reading the comic that you are.
Oh
and
fourth wall breaking.
And acknowledges, here you gotta catch up on us while we're beating up on Hush. And Falcone like just offers to give them the carnival for the night. Thought that was really nice.
At the beginning of the comic, it's like, hey, we did this thing in the show that you haven't watched. Go watch it. And then at the end, it's like, I'm not even gonna try anymore. You should have watched the show by now.
Doesn't even Tawny says if you missed the events of this comic, or if you missed the events that happened up to this, you can check them out on HBO Max right now. And don't forget to watch season 3.
Yeah. I thought I took a picture of that page, but I don't think I did.
Because she's talking about her show.
Like the very last page is a comment on that of you can catch it all their adventures, all the Harley and Ivy adventures on HBO Max, now streaming. And don't forget to check out season 3 of the Tawny Show. And it's like, okay.
Cyborg shows up for a little bit. That's fun.
Zatanna too.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. But I like the focus on Vixen. We get a little tiny moment of Clayface and King Shark doing their bit to get information by still pretending to be the friend of Barb.
Oh, Stephanie? Is it? Yeah.
I had forgotten about that character. So when she's like, Steph told me, I was like, Stephanie Brown?
I also
I'd also totally forgotten until Stephanie showed up, and then I'm like, right. Okay, it all came back to me.
But we're besties.
Right.
Gosh.
I
Yeah,
read that in Alan Tudyk's voice, because Alan Tudyk's the voice of Clayface, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I heard all the show voices.
Oh
of
yeah,
these
Ron
characters.
Funches as the shark. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I also did. I think the comic does a really good job of catching their voices
Yeah.
quite well.
Absolutely, yeah. And T. Franklin, their next work, they are working on an original disabled Spider-Man character for Edge of Spider-Verse too. So like, they're doing good comic
Because
stuff.
they're disabled as well, right?
Yes, they
They're,
are.
I believe, in a wheelchair.
They are Black. They are queer. They are disabled, and they are autistic. And they write a fantastic comic.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. I really thought this is a nice continuation bridge into season 3, and I'm really happy that we got to check it out before the new season's out.
Yeah, and it's
God, that art, honestly, Max Sarin's art is so good, like so colorful and so good at capturing these characters and their faces and their emotions from the show and translating them. Arguably, like, there are faces that they make here that feel so true to the characters from the show, but are honestly more exaggerated than even the show is willing to give them. And I like them.
There's no reason why I should think that, like, they make a Harley Quinn comic book based off the show that it will be lesser, not in terms of quality, but it won't be as gross or it won't be as horny or won't dive into the sexuality. But like, I'm so glad, like, no, just continue the story exactly as mature as you want it to be. Like, and I didn't shy away from any of that, any of that stuff, and which is a blessing. It felt like a true continuation of the show, which is all I could ask for.
Right, like to kind of lessen it, to kind of like mold it into like in the DC mold would be to lessen it, because it is meant to be the continuation to the show, and therefore it must feel like it is.
I said it last week when you announced this was the book, but I'll reiterate if somebody's new to this. There was a great YouTube video by the YouTube person, YouTube creator, I don't know what you call them, like creator, Lady Emily, and it's a 30-minute look in Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn's relationship throughout the decades. And this is a great example of how you do this. There was a Harley Ivy miniseries that's quote unquote in continuity that, by all accounts, after watching that video, is a bad version of how you do this, of how you just turn them into their friend zone, and you kind of just ignore everything that's good about the characters.
The reason why I dropped the Stephanie Phillips Harley Quinn is because the book was promised to us from DC, like this is going to be the one that's going to really, because there's the prelude in last year's Pride comic that has Harley and Ivy admit to being in a relationship or having been in a relationship and sharing a kiss, and like that was a big deal. And so like going into the Harley Quinn ongoing by Stephanie Phillips, I thought that was going to be it was going to be the plot of that comic, that it was going to be about their relationship, or if not, then at least be overt about it. And it very quickly revealed that it's like, we're not touching Poison Ivy in this book.
Yeah,
we're just not having Poison Ivy is just not going to be in this Harley Quinn book.
One of the more recent, like super expensive, like really good looking figures of Poison Ivy and Harley. The description is like, Poison Ivy defends her friend in the only way a best friend knows how to do. And I'm like, guys, come on. Like,
they got so close.
This to one section.
They got so close to finally acknowledging it and finally giving people what they wanted, and then they pulled back. And hopefully the popularity of season 3, because it's the popularity of the first 2 seasons that got that initial push.
Yeah.
And hopefully the popularity of season 3 finally gets DC to get kicked in the ass and finally do something
this comic.
with this.
Yeah.
And this comic, yeah.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you picked it.
I think T. Franklin did an incredible job.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a slight thing, because we're not doing an episode next week, as I mentioned up top. We are doing Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge instead.
Mike's.
And then after that, Ben is gone, and Ben is the next guy for the book club.
Bye.
So expect no book club for a bit.
Yeah.
Hey,
essentially.
we can take a week off. That's fine.
2 weeks.
Yes.
We can take. Oh, I love comic books. We'll figure it out.
All right. So maybe on the episode that it's just you two, you can talk
We'll pick
about
a
comics.
special book.
Well, that's also something we'll have to decide later. Is are we going to do a regular podcast episode, or are we just going to do Comic-Con?
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
So that'll do it. So whenever Ben's next book club is, will be announced online. But as I said, please guys, next week we are not doing a regular episode. We are going to not be doing 292 of the podcast. Instead, we're going to be pushing that a week and making next week's the slot for the episode will be our good friend Mike Matola is returning. Mike's Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge. Just to reiterate, it'll be How to Train Your Dragon. So study up. Get ready to play a really fun game.
Gotta watch
yeah.
that movie again.
For those of you who joined us in between the last Impossible Movie Trivia Challenge and now, go back and watch them. They're all around.
They're a good time.
The audio is for 3 of them at least.
This is another warning. You've got some more time. Watch your Evangelion.
yes. You do have one more week now, because 300 will be Evangelion Rebuild series. It's coming up, guys.
Watch the Evangelion.
So that'll do it, guys. So thank you. Stay tuned for next week. Very excited. All right. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. You can check out all sorts of other shows we got if you like this. If you like this content, if you like what we do here, you can check out some of our other shows, such as Fake Nerds Watch, which will have a new episode, a final episode of The Boys Season 3, a final episode of Stranger Things 4, a final episode of Strange New Worlds, and a final episode of Miss Marvel.
Woo!
All coming in various times.
Finally, Fake Nerds Watch can rest.
And we will have we got plenty more episodes in the back catalog you guys can check out. And there will be more Fake Nerds Watch, but we are excited that these shows are finally winding down.
Yes.
It was just all at once.
Yeah.
We're ready to be out of the all at once time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can check out Basement Arcade, which is our Let's Play series, and you can check out Basement Arcade Pause Menu, which is our video game discussion series, which has a new episode linked below that is up now of you guys' Q1 and Q2 talking about your video games.
Yeah.
Our very own.
We also have Fake Nerd Book Club and Animation Station, all of which you can find on this channel. If you like this video, and subscribe to this channel. I almost pitched this show, but this is this show. You guys are watching the show.
We are the show.
I fell into the Fake Nerds Watch and outro. You can also check out our Patreon and our TeePublic if you want to support us financially. Those are linked below, as well as on our website at fakenerdpodcast.com, which is also linked below. But you can check out all the links for everything that you've seen that I've talked about previously. Everything, it's all there. Thank you to everyone who listens. Thank you to everyone who watches the live show and the rewind. We greatly appreciate all of your support. Thank you to Jeremy Vellucci for all of our musical themes. You've heard them all the ones you heard today, and all the ones you hear on all of our shows. That's all Jeremy Vellucci.
It's true.
We are a one-trick pony, but we love him.
Nay.
You can find him at Jeremy Vellucci Keyboards on Instagram, and you can find his podcast, Suburban Proctologist. You can find his podcast iTunes, or at facebook.com/Suburban Proctologist Official, or Instagram at SubProcPodcast. Mike Matola. I've mentioned him a lot this episode. I'm so excited he's coming back. I don't know if you can tell, but you can find him with many collaborations. You can find his stuff at Mike Matola on Instagram and TikTok. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast. We do a bunch of stuff, announce some things, whatnot. On Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I think I said that already. FakeNerdGuys@gmail.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us personally, I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for Screen Rant, where I've got a few Love and Thunder pieces coming up this week, as well as I write for Atomic Geekdom, which I do a revisiting the Infinity Saga. If you guys like me talking about the Infinity Saga, I do that more on AtomicGeekdom.com. New piece coming up this coming week. And I edit for KaijuRamenMedia.com. Ben?
You can find me furiously getting ready to take my trip to Europe at BenMac27 on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. You can also find me writing for Old School Gamer Magazine, Fusion Gaming Magazine, and GoNintendo.com.
Ryan?
I'm just curious what furiously getting ready means. Are you like, when you're packing your bags, are you like, zip? You can find me doing ridiculous impersonations over at DJ Tony Snark 616.
Sparks?
You can find me holding hands with a lovely guy named Dwayne over a lava pool for 30 days to create a new Cronin baby at Sparks Witty on Instagram, Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
Big mustache.
All right, subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and until next time you see us, guys, stay fake nerds.
Oh!